Yes, people, welcome back to Chelsea Perspective. Welcome back to another Blue Morning show, specifically another match of prediction show. More importantly, I hope you're all doing well. Soon I will get to saying hello to all of you in the chat already. But before that, sit back, relax, and let's get into the show. Yes, people, once more, welcome back to Chelsea Perspective. I hope you're all doing well. Big up to you all. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I wholeheartedly offer whatever suits your time zone. And I hope you're all living the blue life. First person today in the chat is Muslim Khatun. Muslim Khatun said Pochettino will be unveiled on Sunday, according to Telegraph. Finally, I didn't see that. Maybe I should subscribe to these newspapers or electronic versions of them, and yeah, stay up to date with regards to whatever that's going on. But much love to you, Muslim Cartoon. People keep dropping the likes on the stream, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The likes to go along with. Coach, we should do the countdown for Poch official announcement. Now you can bring the title back. Pochettino announcement. Wait, maybe we should do that because at one point, and be honest with me, did you get tired of waiting yourself? I did get tired of waiting myself. Apparently, Mount is leaving. Chelsea and Poch is very furious with Chelsea. Chelsea and Poch is very furious with Chelsea as they assured Pochettino during the interview that Mount will stay. Source ESPN UK. I don't think I will believe that. I think I think if anything, they promised that they try their best to keep him. I don't think that they promise him and with assurance of saying they must keep him, which means you do what you want to do. Maybe which means they do something. They give him a contract that's different from the with a different format from the one that they've been given. From the new format actually, and that would be setting dangerous precedents because it will whatever the construct of the contract will be out soon, and when it gets to the turn of other players to renew their contracts, they tell you what they want, because you've made an exception, why not for them, if that makes sense. But thank you for updating us on that. Big up to you Brianni Yahayu, aka 343 Dilemma, aka Vivel FC, aka Contender FC. I hope you're doing well, bro. I appreciate you always supporting the channel. Thank you so much. Is Colwell the next Lukaku, the next Judas? I would say no. He's better than Lukaku. He's a fine footballer, and you can say Lukaku's case is very different. Colwell would do well. But I'm saying if it's again, if we want to bring him back, I think we should. But rumors are that he's wants to be assured that if he comes back, he plays. He's played. But we get to that in a bit. I'm not sure what the club or what the club is going to do, but we'll find out. I love this song. The vibes, my bro. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. I cannot, not able to say your name like I usually like to say it. Let me try again. The vibes. Maybe that works. But that worked. But that's, by the way, big up Mason God. They always nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. This new owners destroy CFC. This is just the beginning I don't believe that. I'm saying signs that they're learning from the mistakes they've made. At least that's what I believe. That's my opinion. You don't have to subscribe to my opinion, and I don't have to subscribe to yours too. But I strongly believe, from what I'm seeing, signs are that they're learning. But that's why they would dig up. Hey, Mike, bro. Nice to see you, brother. It's been a minute. It's been like how long now? We haven't spoken for a while, but I understand you are a very busy man. But more importantly, always nice to see you. Find time to join in the chat. That shows you still remember your brother and say hello. I hope you're doing well. Always nice to see you. More respect to you, brother. And that avatar, okay, that's you. Yeah, that's you. Yeah, and the hoodie, I like it. It looks very nice there. Let's see what else we have here. A big up Kuchila Pan in the chat. Big up to you too, Santiago Munoz. I hope you're doing well. And Jacob Hawkins says Colwell hasn't held a discussion with Chelsea or even the new manager yet. The rumors are that we've had an offer for him on the table for a while now, but he's not in a rush to put pen to paper for a new contract with the club. He wants to be sure the direction the club is going. For instance, if we go out and sign Vadio for for 80 million plus euros, I don't think he'd come back. Practically, he'd see it, as if the club don't value him, because it wouldn't make sense for us to sign Vadio. Actually, it would be a signing that we'll get him because because he's played at the World Cup, and for me, I'd argue that Colwell is actually equally good. The difference is that he didn't get to play at the World Cup. But that's by the way, we move on from that. We have this here from Constantin Dante. He says, hello, Pichila. Hello to you too, Chipchilla. Yeah, that's the name he calls me, but big up to you, brother. I appreciate you. Unkwa Joseph. That sounds like an Igbo name. I appreciate you, Mr. Unkwa, for joining us. He says, even majority of Man United fans are not happy. They want to sign Mason Mount. That is because they're judging. You could say they're subscribing to the narrative of Chelsea fans. Believe me, as much as I don't think Mason Mount is the best player at Chelsea, I don't think he's the worst player at Chelsea. I think he's a very good player. I think if he stays, Poch will help bring out the best in him. Like I've always argued, and I think even though I've gone ahead to say I'm not going to say that again, I will keep repeating it because it's a fact. I have a different argument. I usually don't like getting into the argument whether the club should keep or let Mason Mount go. I usually prefer to discuss why he hasn't reached the heights that I believe he's capable of reaching, to me, which is down to him not being coached properly. He hasn't been coached very well since his academic days and his loan spell in the Netherlands. Beyond that, all the managers he's walked into have all prioritized his energy, his industry, and the amount of running he's pressing on the pitch, and haven't done much to actually get the best out of him. He's actually a very, very technically gifted player, but unfortunately for him, managers prioritize his industry over his technical ability, if that makes sense. Let me see. Yep. Oh, I did not pay attention. Now I know what he did. He's my bro. I know he's done that before, and I laughed for nearly 4 hours. 4 minutes. I couldn't hold myself, so I wasn't paying attention. I think he did that intentionally, and thank you for catching that. Santiago Muno. I can assure you, he knew exactly what he was doing when he did that. I wish I caught it the first time, but unfortunately, my brain. Saw Coachella there. So Taran knew exactly what he was doing. Yeah, so don't worry about it. That's my bro. Oh my goodness. Yeah, indeed. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna move on from that one. Let's see, Coach. What's your thoughts on PSG having an agreement in principle with Bayern? Lucas Hernandez, Chelsea not pouncing on him. Maybe they're not looking for a player of his profile. It's as simple as that. And honestly, I don't even know him that much, actually. I don't even know him that well, if that makes sense. Let's see what else we have here. Big up to you too, Chelsea, all the way. I hope you're doing well, bro. Always nice to see you. Thank you so much for finding that the time to join the show. Yeah, Hernandez and Kimmich are valuable. Kimmich especially, I'd take Kimmich. I think Kimmich, he'll be, if we can get him, I think he will be a good addition to our squad, Joshua Kimmich. But do we want him? I don't know. It all comes down to what the manager wants. And so I'm not sure what we're going to do. Big up to you, to Santiago Muno. So let's get to addressing the items we have lined up for the day. We're not going to go into the lineup prediction exercise immediately. We have this story here. My boy, Levi Colwell. And this says halfway through an exclusive interview with the Athletic, Levi Colwell had to be reminded that he is in fact a Chelsea player. That shows you he's enjoying himself so much at Brighton that you could argue from this what we're being told here that he actually wants to stay there. But I doubt that's the case. I forgot for a minute. Colwell chuckled. Yeah. But he's enjoying himself, playing, getting time. And the Zervi, I don't know how to pronounce his name correctly. He's spoken highly of him. He's a player he wants to keep, and I think that will actually be playing in his mind. So if he doesn't see a pathway to the first team, or if he doesn't see the possibility of him starting as many games as he would like at Chelsea, he probably would prefer to remain at Brighton. And look, they have European football, and even us don't have European football. So, yeah, why come back to Chelsea now? So maybe now, if we don't have the luxury, if we don't have space to accommodate him, but I think we can accommodate him actually if we're going to sell any of our defenders. And rumors are that Chalobah may well, be on the market, but I'm not too sure. I would like the club to keep him too. He's a fine defender. But yeah, Colwell also. This also deals with the interview. He says Chelsea don't want to sell Levi Colwell. I'm not surprised. He's an excellent player, but there's also concern within the club about his situation. I'm guessing that will be with regards to his contract situation. He has 2 years left on his contract, which means after 2 years left on his current contract, a new deal has been on the table for a while, but he hasn't shown any desire to put pen to paper, without assurance that he will play regularly next season. And yeah, I would do the same. If I were Liverpool, I will most definitely do the same. He's a smart kid. He's a good footballer. I get it. He's just 21, at most 22. But yeah, there will not be shortage of clubs vying for his signature should he decide to leave Chelsea Football Club. So with that, he'd be looking for assurance that he'd be playing, if that makes sense. Let's see what else we have here. This from Constantin Dante. Swap Colwell for Casado. If we feel like we can do without Colwell, that may well be in the cards. But I don't know. But he's one player. I'd say let's try and keep him. Maybe if that will help us cut down on the price tag of Moises Casado. But I think that may well happen. But I don't know the club's priorities. Whatever happens, the defensive area, you can say we can actually stick with what we have and still be good. Or maybe get him to put pen to paper, try to convince him to play the coming season at Brighton, since they have European football and he gets European exposure to. Maybe he'll agree to, extend and stay with them, and then the following season we'd make way and accommodate him. But I'm not sure what's going to happen really. But let's see, what else do we have here? But like I said, that may well be in the cards if we're too serious about getting Moises Casado, who he's an excellent player, by the way. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. Remember, we're shooting for 200 likes. Let's make it happen today. We're just at 14 likes. But we can make it happen only if you feel like we can do that. How much more do Brighton want from us? I think Moises Casado, I don't think he will not go. He will go for anything. He will go for something. Most likely will be going up for something north of £70 million. Just common sense, because the rumors were that Arsenal went in with £70 million and they rejected that. They did not even listen to them. and he's signed a new contract. And I have to be honest, with regards to the new contracts, I'm not sure if it's an extension, or maybe he just signed an improved contract. Maybe the latter, actually, I think. But that's, by the way, we move on from that. They may well be willing to sell him if we show them the money, they let him go. But I don't think we'd have the luxury to sign a player at that price without making some sales. Which also, you must remember, I've always argued that the club's priority will not just be buying players after sales. They've also, you can say, use portion of the money we make from sales to balance the books. Except maybe if we sign a new contract with the shirt sponsor before the transfer window open, that will help, cut down the need to balance out the books. Literally, with all the money we've given Brighton, a Bally should just buy Brighton. Oh yeah, you should see Roger's subtitle if he has time to join to them. By the way, I should have checked on him to see how he's doing. But if you're listening, Roger, I hope you're doing well. If Colwell isn't sure about his future, sell him for 70 million. Or do you think he'd be able to sell him for 17 million when he has just 2 years left on his contract and he's enjoying himself at Brighton, and even to a measure where he forgot for a minute that he's a Chelsea player? Believe me, he'd stay there, run down his contract, and live on a free. If that makes sense. I think one thing is certain: when you want to sell a player, I think the length of their current, that is how much they have remaining on their current contract, I think wield a significant influence on how much you're able to get with them. That player, would have to be exceptionally. Would have to be firing on all cylinders, especially attackers, for you to get such money from them, if that makes sense. But I know you understand my point. Let's see what else we have here. Constantine Dante also says no player should play every game. I can assure you that's not what he's asking. At least he wants to be assured of a sizable amount of games, good enough for him to keep developing and not just rot on the bench, if that makes sense. No player should play every game. That's not possible. They're humans. If a player plays every game, at some point they'd burn out, and that's not good. Which was Thomas Tuchel. What Thomas Tuchel did to Mason Mount that I didn't like. He's one of the reasons why Mason Mount, he's in poor form. Played him and ran him to the gutters. Actually, even when it was clear that he was mentally tired, he kept playing him. I didn't like that. But people keep dropping the likes on the stream, and I want to appeal to those of you that are watching, and for one reason or the other not able to participate in the chat. Just know that we appreciate you and we value you so much. But if you can do us one more favor, that will go a long way for the community. Please do take a second, drop a like on the stream, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The likes do go a long way. Thank you so much. This says if Colwell doesn't want, then sell him. But I think we want him. We don't want to sell him. We understand how good he is. Unfortunately, it is difficult now because Brighton value him. The coach, the manager, Brighton manager, deserves to value him, and he knows that. So he's not going to be in a rush to put pen to paper for a new Chelsea contract. But hopefully he does, because he's a player I like so much. Just give me 1 second here. Let me share the link with the panelists in case any of them has the time to join us here. If not, I can roll solo, and it will still be fun because I like to interact with you, those of you in the chat. So let's see what happens. He's not. Hopefully he stays. Hopefully he puts pen to paper for a new contract. Sorry, it looks like my highlight screen is a bit slow as usual. I hope that stops. Not 17 million. He's what, like a 30 million max at this point. Yeah, especially with the length of his current Chelsea contract. I keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. 16 likes. Let's get it up. Brighton want him so much. They should be. They should pay what he's worth. I think that's what you're trying to write there. Sorry if I remix your. They should pay what we want. Okay, sorry for remixing your comment there. Unfortunately, smaller clubs pay low, big clubs pay high. It is how it is. You can say small clubs, they do a lot of scouting work. and they risk that is they accommodate up and coming talents more than big clubs. Big clubs will go for establish a talent or polish a talent because they have the money because of the pressure to win and win now. They don't have the luxury to give up and coming talents the time to develop and mature, if that makes sense. So Brighton, it's something that changes because now if they make some changes in the summer to keep their place in the top, keep getting European football, because once you taste it, usually they do the clubs can go to to the extent of signing a lot of players and not to go for up and coming talents that much anymore because they've tasted European football, and the pressure to stay there it can cause a lot of problem if not handled well. Colwell will return to the fold, get a new contract, and be happy. He's a generational player, which is why almost all the Premier League, which is why almost all the Premier League teams globally want a piece. He's all ours. Antonio Conco, thank you for joining the show and whatnot. I appreciate that. Here's something I'm going to say. I think we use the term generational talent carelessly, and for me, I'd say I don't call a player generational talent until they dominate a generation. Get there, be there, and done it. Then I'd say, okay, well, he dominated a certain generation. Then it's worth calling a generational talent. But it's a term that most people, see differently. That's how the smaller clubs survive. Yeah, because they don't have the money, they don't have the luxury to always go for polished talent, if that makes sense. Chelsea, all the way, just having a conversation there. This here says Colwell, if we decide to sell, will be between 60 to 70 million pounds. But we won't. I hope we don't sell him. He's a player I like so much. I am sure Poch will assess him, must have assessed him already by now, and probably had the time to watch him play for Brighton and have decided whether he wants him to stay or not. Where you guys getting 17 million pounds from? I don't think that happens. I've argued that before, especially not with 2 years left on his contract. This year says Kachila Colwell has 1 year left. Okay, just a year actually, so not 2 years. Thank you for correcting that. If he doesn't extend, he will go for free. Chelsea should cash in if he doesn't want to extend. I think we have until the summer. So we'll see if he's willing to extend. Then fine. If he doesn't want to extend, then we may well decide to sell him in the summer. Win-win for all parties involved. If we cannot assure him of a starting place in the team, then he probably will decide to go, and I don't blame him. He's still young and needs to be playing to continue his development. Our contract is still till 2025, so I'm going to look
2025. Yes.
Is what?
2025.
2025. So he still has 2 years left on his contract. While Poch will be at the Newcastle game, I am so excited by my sports friends are still crying and whining. A lot of sports fans they're not happy that the club decided to let him go. It is 2 years left, though. Okay, thank you for correcting that. But that's, by the way, I'm going to bring in Tobago immediately. Big up my bro from the Madiba line. Here's the thing. I know you've heard that he, for a second, forgot. He's still, for a minute, forgot he's still a Chelsea player. But that's, by the way, what do you make of his situation? He's enjoying himself as Brighton, and they love him. They respect him. He's getting enough game time. So he'd be cautious, very cautious with regards to putting pen to paper for a new Chelsea contract. Yeah, I can hear you crystal clear. Yeah, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. I think it's normal for a player to say he's happy at Brighton because he's been developed very well. So no need to overreact as Chelsea fans or Todd will sell him. No. What is it wrong for a player to express his feelings about his current situation? No. But again, coach, I think now will be a good thing to convince him to come to Chelsea because remember, Bernard Barishile is on injury. So Levi Colwell will be a good fit for us in terms of preseason. Pochettino will look at him and then maybe can impress him. He can win that role. As you said, like you want to be guaranteed for to play at the first team, but again, in football, nothing is guaranteed. So he must fight for his place, then he'll play. So I'm not worried about him.
You sure? You sure? You should. I shouldn't. You. I think you should be worried. The fact that he has 2 years left, because the fact that it's clear. His, you could say his response to the interview question reflects the fact that he's enjoying himself. He's feeling at home at Brighton. And look, they have European football, and we don't have European football. Maybe that's one thing that can help us convince him to put pen to paper for a new contract and stay there and play. Get European exposure. But we're not too sure what's going to happen. We'll find out. Let's see. Let me see what else we have in the chat. Yeah, if you're in the chat, let us know what you think of the Levi Colwell situation. I think the club will want to keep him. The question is, would he want to come back if it's not guaranteed a starting place? Okay. Carry on. Okay. We don't have to. Again, even if it's 2 years, it's still a problem. Do you think Poch will be announced on Sunday? I don't think so. But if it happens, I take it. That's not me saying that for sure. I'm not certain. I don't have an insider that tells me what's going on at the club or the plans, what the club is planning to do. Or we'll just see him at the game on Sunday. Matt Law said that he will be at Stamford Bridge on Sunday. Do you see a walk and wedding, etc.? I'm not too sure what's going to happen. I'm not too sure what's going to happen, but maybe he's going to be there. I don't know. There's no way to confirm that. Yeah, but let's see what happens. Sunday is not like a month from now. It's just a few days. They say if Chelsea want to keep any player and he doesn't want to sell, we must be ruthless. I agree with you. Look at City. That's the standard. But in some cases, you have to, try the best you can to keep some of your best young talents, especially. What's the problem? They're just having a conversation. I think an argument of what's the length of Colwell's current contract. If it expires in 2025, then you can argue he still has about 2 years left on his contract, or no less. But I think Chelsea all the way saying it's just about a year. We move on from that particular topic. We get onto this one. Exclusive Levi Colwell interview, his future. Brighton have done a lot. Okay, let's just read this. Brighton have done a lot for me. They put their trust in me when others didn't. And here's the thing. I like to look beyond us again to analyze statements very carefully. If you're still there, Taboho, this comment here, when others did not, it could be interpreted to anything. You can argue he's referring to Chelsea. Hopefully that's not the case. If that's the case, then probably he will most likely decide to leave. And I am a person who loves to repay that. You see, that part also is concerning to me. We will see. I think he's still torn.
Yeah.
He's still torn between remaining at Brighton and coming back to Chelsea. That's what I make of this comment. But you go ahead. Your thoughts.
Yeah, to be honest, I think the coaches are different, and then I feel like Roberto De Zerbi played a very good role in his career. That's why I'm so happy, maybe saying such things. But again, I'm telling you, if Pochettino comes in, he's gonna groom this kid very well because Pochettino is a good man management also. So I think these coaches are playing different roles in the players. So hopefully, and a coach, like for example, if Chelsea wanted him to go, we should have sold him the time we got Marco Corella, but the club refused. So there's a potential there. So hopefully they can convince him, look, you still have potential. You still can grow at Chelsea. We didn't want to let you go. So please sign a new contract and fight for your place. Let's hope so, because I don't want to let this kid go because it's so good. You saw him yesterday also. He was playing very well.
Yeah, he's always been even before that loan spell. His current before that loan to Brighton, it's always been an excellent player, and we know that. Just give me 1 second. Unfortunately, it's not an easy situation to sort out because this sounds like yeah, he's he doesn't want to come back, and I'm a person who loves to repay that. So that's that part of that first paragraph is also concerning to me. We will see. I don't know what's going to happen at Chelsea. I am still here until the end of the season. I just focus on the game on that, and I've got the Euros under 21 championship with England in the summer. After that, we'll see what happens. To me, it's something like he is not that too interested to come back to Chelsea. At least that's my opinion, really. But we'll move on from that. Let's see what else we have lined up here this year from Mr. Okonkwo. Says, Coach, there's absolutely nothing to be worried about. Like every player, they experience anxiety about their future, which is natural. But the statement is concerning to me. I hope you're correct. Colwell is in control now. By that comment, he wants us to stay at Brighton, which would force us to sell or get nothing. I think that's the way I see it. Even if it is 2 years after that, he have just a year, which you could say, it's a huge factor with regards to how much we're able to get from his soul. So I'm concerned. Coach Telegraph on Matt Law, Telegraph Matt Law and Melissa have all reported an hour ago that Pochettino will be at Stamford Bridge for the Newcastle game. So I believe you, and thank you so much for saying that. Coded Web. Should we get Victor if his price is 130 million? I don't know. As much as I wouldn't want to suspend so much on an attacker. I'm not sure. The club will end up doing what they want to do. And I think that's a bit too much. But if they feel like he will live up to that fee, if we sign him, who am I to blow against the wind, if that makes sense? If they want him, they'd get him. What I think doesn't make any difference. He has a stronger personality too, and he's an intelligent guy. Chelsea fans, you will regret Mr. Ten Hag knows Mount can become world class. Well, if you're going to pay, if Mason Mount, I'm not going to regret anything because I've also argued if Mount eventually, if he ends up leaving Chelsea, then I just see it from the perspective that it didn't work because none of us have been at the table where the negotiations, have been held because that's a chance Mount is the reason he hasn't put them to paper for a new contract. Maybe he wants them to do something that they cannot afford to do. That will set, you could say, let me just use the term, a risky precedent for them, for lack of a better term. So we don't know. It's business for all parties involved. And I don't think it's okay for most Chelsea fans, the narratives and some of the takes I'm seeing on Twitter, some of them want to make me throw up, really. We're not there at the table negotiating with either with Mount's camp, on the side of Mount's camp or the club's camp. So people just jump in the conclusion that if he ends up leaving, it's all on the new owners, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's okay. As much as I think Mount is not a bad player, and I don't think he's the best player at Chelsea, I don't think he's the worst either. But whatever happens at the negotiation table, we don't know. So we should stop jumping to conclusions with regards to what we think is going on. But yeah, if you guys pay enough, I think Chelsea will sell. Rice, Kane, Mount to United. Let's see if that happens. But Rashid 10, nice to see you. Pay world class a fee then for Mount. Let them pay since it's world class. Big up to you too, brother. Colwell forgot who is his parent club. It's while Lukaku said, I ain't coming back to pay into my wages. All we need now is Bakayoko to say hell no to a return, and we'll know we're truly dusted. And do you blame Colwell if he remains at Brighton? He gets European exposure because they have European football, and we don't. So I don't blame him. He sounded like he really wants to stay there, unfortunately. Sell Mount for 17 million. Good luck getting 17 million from Mount. Rumors are that Chelsea are looking asking for 80 million. To me, that if we're to believe that, it just sounds as if we're not serious about selling him. And by the way, the blue tip again, big up to you, brother. Much love. Always nice to see you. Thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. Okay, it says pay 130 million for Victor, net spend 16 million, sell 9 more players. Books will be balanced, but we still need a midfielder. If you're paying attention. Good morning to you too, a lot of people. Mesole, always nice to see you, brother. Appreciate that. Colwell knows Chelsea wants him to be part of the squad next season. Why that type of interview? If that was a certain player, there will be outrage. I think I agree with you. I've read again. That's a part of the transcript on the screen there. To me, it's sounding like he really doesn't want to come back. He does not want to come back. I get it. Part of it is that he wants to be again assured of a starting place. I think it's beyond that. It's still already sounding like he's decided he wants to stay at Brighton. If that makes sense. So we move on from that one. We go to this here, which says that nothing is finished. It's finalized, but it's looking increasingly as if a Chelsea only remaining hope of convincing Mason Mount to sign a new contract rests on incoming coach Mauricio Pochettino making a compelling personal intervention, and even that may not be enough at this late stage. It looks like Mount is more likely to leave Chelsea, and if that happens, I'll just say it didn't work out. If he stays, fine. But Tabejo, your thoughts on the Mason Mount situation? It's looking like he's more likely to leave. And if the club are seeing it from the perspective of how much they're going to make from his sale, I think they may well be inclined to sell him. But your thoughts?
To be honest, coach, I'm gonna be really, really honest about Mason Mount's situation
I'd like
because,
that.
yeah, because on Twitter now, fans are giving different opinions. Some of them are calling Todd Bowley names. It's okay, but they didn't have the same energy when Marina was turning around with Antonio Rudiger. But it's cool anyway. So to be honest, as I said before, coach, if the club and Mason Mount doesn't have reach an agreement, they have to sell him because there's no way we're gonna keep a player and end up
Mhm.
leaving for free. At the end of the day, this is business. Also, this is business for Mason Mount. If Chelsea doesn't offer him what he likes, and then he thinks other team will offer him, he should leave. At the end of the day, he's looking for his family and for himself. So we don't have to cry about this. We lost so many great players at Chelsea, and then we are always gonna have new great players at Chelsea. We need to move on from this saga. But again, if you sign the contract, well done, Chelsea. You did your job. We are happy. But again, if he leaves, I'll be happy for him too. No need to cry about for a player. Come on, coach. Just let me say this: Chelsea were here before Mason Mount, and then Chelsea will be here after Mason Mount. So the club is bigger than any player. Simple as that, coach.
Well, unfortunately, it's an unfortunate situation. He's a divisive player. That's another way. It not with that not it has nothing to do with his behavior. Some like him, some don't. Some want him to say, some want him gone immediately. Unfortunately, but the two sides are at the extreme. Those that want him to stay, they think they're very extreme with their argument. Those that want him to leave are very extreme with the argument to the extent that they call him names and all that. But I don't think we should do that. And which is why I've always argued. Uh, I've always hated to discuss to discuss the fact that some people are arguing the problem lies with how much he's asking the club. But that's not something I want to get into. Unfortunately, it's looking like he's going to leave. If he ends up staying, fine. If he leaves, fine. We've lost better players. Whatever happens, I'm all for it, really. Why do we need a midfielder when we have players in abundance in those positions? Can you elaborate? I'm not sure what player you're referencing. Let's see what else we have here. People complain about Victor's transfer fee, but if we want to be competing, we have to get world-class players. Let's offload as much as we can Here's where the problem lies: is that we don't actually have the luxury to spend that much money on a single player in the summer. At least that's my opinion. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Because before we missed out of the next edition of Champions League, we knew it's important that we how important it is. We knew I think we knew. I think we heard something from an FFP expert saying missing out of the next edition of the Champions League will be detrimental to the club's alignment with FFP rules. That's where I'm concerned. That's not me saying the club cannot afford to sign Victor Osimhen, but we don't have the luxury because of the financial situation of the club. If that makes sense. But hopefully, if we're able to sign him, I'll take him. And if the club wants him, but I understand your argument. Why not buy Kane of 100 million? Poch and Kane, father and son. And how old is he? I think he's 29 right now. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me be sure here and not just throw numbers at you. I think it should be 28 or so. Let me check. Paying that much money for a player at that age, it's a huge risk. Yep, he's 29. And I'm going to argue, present the same argument that I did present when we were still on the verge of signing Romelu Lukaku. Paying that much money for a 29-year-old, it's a risk. If it comes to Chelsea and it doesn't work out, no sell-on value. So practically, that would mean that we've thrown £100 million away. So it's a risk if they're willing to take that risk, let them go ahead with it. But do I think we're going to be able to sign Harry Kane? I'd say no, for multitude of reasons. One, he's 29, and we'll be looking to go to a club where he'd get the possibility to win trophies immediately, and not Chelsea. Right now, you can say we're not that club. Yeah, right now, you can say you cannot convince him that we're capable of winning the Premier League in the coming season, and he'd look at our situation and say, yeah, I think that's possible. And I don't think, as long as he still even if he still has 10 years left on his contract, I don't think that Olivier will be willing to sell him to us. It would take something, some transfer fee that nobody thought would be possible in 2023 to get him to sell to Chelsea Football Club. Remember, he sold Luka Modric to Real Madrid, even though we were willing to offer something more. But he took a lesser transfer fee and sold them to Real Madrid. So I don't think it's possible for the reasons I've explained it to you. But let's see what the club does. What else do we have here? Chelsea are winning. Winning what? Gina Maklova, the game? Okay, I hope we win today. Smash the like button, people, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And please also, if you can, do take a second to share the stream on whatever social media platform where you have presence so that people can join us. The more people we have here, the more fun it will be. And also, the more likes you drop on the stream, the more the YouTube algorithm will be triggered, and the more people would have joined the show, if that makes sense. Will City be open to sell Alvarez as he is not getting game time due to Haaland? He might be willing to come to Chelsea. I don't think they'd be in a rush to sell him now. They're not going to be in a rush to sell him. Plus, I think Pep will find a way to accommodate him, even to the extent of playing him and Haaland in the same game, in the same lineup. I think that's very possible, actually, because their profile differ. Alvarez, for me, before they signed Haaland, I'd argue that Alvarez is actually more the more of the two, who's you could say fits, who's a better fit for perhaps preferred approach to football. But right now, you can argue that argument doesn't make sense anymore, given how well Haaland has done. Mohammed Auntie says, good evening. Evening to you too. That sounds like it's even where you are. This Chelsea Football Club, these players are absolutely needed to be cleared out. If you don't want to play for us, leave. And the club is bigger than you. Yep, Chelsea is the entity will support players come and go. Yep, Newcastle have replaced us. They are the new Man City who are linked to Kimmich. By the way, I have no faith in Project Rebuild. the prices. We are in no position to argue with players wanting to leave. We don't have the right.
Kimmich won't leave Bayern.
Go ahead. Sorry, you want to say something?
Joshua Kimmich, I don't think will leave Bayern. You can see players that will leave their clubs. Joshua Kimmich just is grown from Bayern. Now he's 28 years old. He's a captain. He's a key player. Why would he leave?
His contract is
Man,
running. His contract is running out, isn't he? Let me check when his
I'll, I'll,
contract
I'll
is
I'll
signed.
check it. I'll check it out. But his is the I think it is the third highest paid player at Bayern Munich at the moment.
Yeah,
I'll
let's see
check
what
it.
they have here.
So you
Joshua
can check.
Kimmich, transfer market. I think the issue is with his contract. Yeah.
How many years left?
I'm going to find out in a bit. Just give me a second. I'm just going to transfermarket.com in a bit. Yes, people, while you wait for us, please keep dropping the likes on the stream. The likes do go a long way. He still have, you can say, 2 years left on his contract. It expires July 2025. So that's a problem. Usually, when a player has 2 years left on his contract, if he doesn't extend by the time the season ends, yeah, then it's a problem for Bayern. But I think they'd be able to get him uh, to put pen to paper. But maybe you're correct. It's not certain that he'd end up leaving Bayern at this point. A lot of people says that Kane is not good investment for his age. It's not at all. Todd is challenging the FFP on the basis of the impact of the sanctions, although no response on that yet. But he's contesting for waiver on our losses. That may well happen, but let's see. Mount has the potential to be world-class player under good manager. He has the same problem like Rashford, but Tenan turned that. And like I've always argued, I think Mount has more to his game than most people recognize. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't look beyond his industry. They just look at his industry and say that's all he has to offer. Kachila, if Colwell refuses to extend, what do you think Chelsea should do? It's simple logic. Should you even be asking that person sell him? It's as simple as that because it means he'd have just a year left on his contract and it's a risk. He'd end up living on a free. Okay, Kenton, yeah, go ahead, just take him. Alvarez is being developed as City so that when Haaland leaves, and he will leave, Alvarez would be the next Aguero. You can't argue if Haaland wins the Champions League and the Premier League just as he's doing this season and one more trophy, they'd be willing to sell him to Real Madrid if they can pay out. And I think his buyout clause will be active in 2024. Maybe we should just buy a new open coming Brazilian or Argentine under 21. I see is a number 9. Okay, can be the next Aguero or Ronaldo. I think that's what you're trying to say there. Kimmich is running down his contract, hence the interest. Yeah, I understand now. Thank you for explaining. Saying why you people are making like Mount is crap. I don't think anybody here have said it's crap. A lot of people are just arguing if he wants to leave, then just let him go. And I think the club, it's actually easy to decide to sell him because, I think selling a homegrown player brings in a lot more money than selling a foreign player. Let's see what else we have here. IBC, I don't know if you have time to speak now. I wanted to ask you what you make of the Mason Mount situation and the fact the rumors are that Man United are interested and they're serious. I think they're preparing a bid. That's where all this out there. But your thoughts, if you have time to speak with regards to the Mason Mount situation. If not, I will move on. Soon we will get to the lineup of building prediction exercise. Let's see what else we have. Anything else lined up here? Yeah, we've discussed this one here. Yeah.
Oh, I'm muted. Look at my life. Look at my life.
Oh, you were talking?
I was talking.
I
I
haven't.
was talking. How you doing, man? Big
I'm
up,
good,
man.
good. I can't complain.
Yeah, man. I'm out to sale, Mason. There's nothing to say, man. it's up to him, man. I want him to stay. If he doesn't want to stay, if he's not being valued at where he feels he wants to be valued, and someone's going to put value on yourself, then go get it, bro. Go be the best version of yourself, bro. If you try to do it
And I
here
don't think
and
we
we
should
didn't
be
give you
blaming the owners for that.
the owners, that's their pro. If they couldn't get to an agreement, they couldn't get to an agreement. I don't have any opinion on this matter. Me personally, I would like him to stay as opposed to going to another Premier League club and developing and becoming an established footballer. I would like him to do it with us. But if he's not getting what he wants, if he's not getting what he feels, and there's offers elsewhere, then boy, you have to go in it, you know. But I wish him the best, man. I really wish him the best. I almost wish he has an outstanding career, you know. I really hope so, man.
I
Hands on
wish him
heart,
well,
man.
and I wish he gets a manager now in the sense that he's still young, he still has a lot to learn.
If he wins major trophies, I
IBZ,
will stand and support. Yeah,
IBZ.
yeah.
Let me ask you something. Do you think Mason Mount, after Frank Lampard left Chelsea, he's been used correctly? Because Mason Mount is an 8, but since Frank Lampard left, we never used correctly. So we hindered his development. So let's say, for example, Pochettino come in and play 4-2-3-1. Where will Mason Mount play there?
He'll play where he sees fit. What? The prerogative that Lampard got the best out of him, and other people apart from Lampard hasn't got the best out of him. I
I
don't
don't
buy
think so.
into
He
that. I
won
don't
nothing
buy into
under
that.
Lampard. He
I
actually
don't.
won all the trophies he's won at
Even
Chelsea
regardless,
under
you
Thomas
don't.
Tuchel.
I don't think you base a
But
player's development based on their. I mean, what is his position?
but but but
What
but
is his
but,
position?
but
People say he's an 8. People say he's a 10.
Let
People
him
say
let
he's
him
an
drop.
inside
Let him drop.
forward. People say he's this and that. He's a box-to-box midfielder. He is a midfielder. He can play in and around that midfield wherever you want to play him. Getting the best out of him is getting the best out of him. That's another situation. So because of the fact that we haven't seen the best in his position over a year, we don't know where we were saying, he's been outplayed here, he's been not used properly there. Mason Mount could play anywhere in that midfield. Why? Why do every single manager has come to us use him? Because they can see his versatility in that midfield. If you like it, if you don't like it, that's your business. But what I'm saying is that is Mason Mount. He could play anywhere in that midfield, in my opinion. He can play anywhere in that midfield. That's why managers see his usefulness. That's why managers want to utilize him. That's why he starts mostly every game, because his ability can demand every single part of where it needs to be. So if a Liverpool's coming for him, if a Manchester United's coming for him, they know what they're seeing. So I do not buy, he's been played in the wrong position, this, that, and the other.
cool.
I don't buy it. I understand that
Where
obviously his performances, but whose performances have been good? Only you could
okay, no
argue David
problem.
Silva, Silva.
Where did Thomas Tuchel play him then?
Thomas Tuchel played him out wide. He played him in middle. He played him where he seed fit, where he felt he could be. Mostly, it was more advancing, playing as either of the wing or behind the striker.
So do you see him
Yes.
as a winger? But you said he plays along the midfield, but he's been used as a winger also. So do you think as a winger is effective?
No. Well, he's not been affected. But if the manager's seen him to play him as an inside forward or as a wide attacker,
That's
then
what
that's the prerogative. I mean, it's irrelevant as to what's his best
Yes,
position.
then whether he's been used correctly or not, I think that argument is irrelevant at this point.
My argument is that the guy has performed. He has scored goals for us. We have celebrated his goals. He has been part of a squad. So, I don't understand the hate or the animosity towards this guy.
It's not the hate. Why?
Let me land. Let me also land. Where there people are hating him because he's asking for a value that he deems right for himself. I don't know. Are you guys going to pay him his wages? So shut the hell up. Not you.
Are you going to pay him?
No, not you, Tobago, but just generally the consensus that has been going around. I don't know why he's asking for that. I don't know if people are going to want to be paying him the money. But if a player's asking for what he's worth, this is the market. The market dictates. So yes, if he's saying he's worth 200k or what have you, then he is worth 200k. And there's no one else. Obviously, we could say, because of his performances, he's not worth that. But who has been worth that this year for our Chelsea squad? So yeah, I reiterate. I would like him to stay.
Yes, I think we should just move on.
If he feels that he gets the best of his value elsewhere, then you have my full blessing, bro. If
It's as
it's
simple as
Arsenal, it
that.
will
It's
hurt.
just, yeah.
If it's
If
Arsenal, it
it,
will hurt. If it's United, it will hurt. If it's Liverpool, anyway, it will hurt. But boy, you do what's right for you, bro. You do what's right for you.
yeah, whatever
But it
whatever
won't be.
happens, let's move on from whether he's being played in the right position or not. Whatever
But
happens,
again,
let's.
coach, let me say this: why the same energy on missing man never used on Antonio Rudiger when he was treated unfairly at Chelsea?
I think
Where
it
was this
was. I think
energy?
it was. Maybe you weren't paying attention. I think we
Come
saw the
on.
same argument. Here's the thing. Let's just move on from that. We're not here to talk about whether he was being played at the right position or not. Here's the thing. I think whatever happens, let's just say it as if it didn't work out. It's as simple as that. We're not at the negotiation. We were never at the negotiation table to say that's what happened or not. Rashi, keep talking about Man United here. Hello everyone. Big up to you, JC. A lot of tears by Mount fans today. Looking forward to a good transfer fee for homegrown players. Can we add Ruben Loftus-Cheek? I think he's already, according to rumors, he's negotiating. Talks are ongoing with AC Milan as they push to sign the Englishman. Callum Hudson-Odoi most likely to leave. Gallagher, I'm not too sure what's going to happen. Colwell, he's not too sure. He's not too certain whether he's coming back to Chelsea or not. So he may well, be in that basket of players. We may well be on the market. A gang of contract run down. Yeah, all of them. So we don't want to risk losing them on a free. I think it will be bad. I agree with Rashi. Mount is a fantastically brilliant player who is destined to be the next Messi. United should buy him if they want him, let them take him. Quickly
Next
before
Messi?
his snap. Just don't worry. You should know the Bluetooth game. Don't worry about that. Before he is snapped up by Real Madrid, you should understand he's joking. But that's by the way. Ten Hag is still fighting for top four. He's still fighting for top four. If we get 200 million for those 5 players, I think it will go a long way for us. We can use it to buy us the players we want. If Colwell has 2 years left on his contract, then he must return, then evaluate his situation the following year in terms of game time. That's when we decide to sell. Maybe that's what's going to happen. I think that argument makes a perfect sense. But he's one player I do not want us to lose. But he's sounding like he doesn't, want to come back. Someone has said Newcastle replaces. That's not true. They simply took their position back. We displaced them from a top 4 over 20 years. Hopefully, we displace them again. So which means you agree. The ending part of your statement shows you agree that they've displaced us, and hopefully we'll displace them again in the coming seasons. But right now, they've replaced us. You could argue that even if it lasts for just one season, it's still, it's still them displacing us, if that makes sense. Let's see what we have. Coach, I'm telling you a secret for your channel. As long as you will keep content to contract rundown, gangsters, you will not achieve 200 likes. I suggest everyone to move on to Sunshine, to Sunshine Land. Oh my goodness. You will always be, JC. If you didn't do such, I'll ask you for your ID. That's where that's something that you cannot avoid. When that is the situation, when we talk about that player, it will lead, the contract length will most likely come up. So it's not something that happens by design. It happens as the discussion progresses. When we discuss those players, it comes up. Thank you for that advice. Koulibaly and Sterling should also leave. Wow, some argument, but let's see. Sterling is one that's not going to be easy to sell. Mount will play Eriksen role. So I'm going to move on from that one right now. I'm going to ask this question. Mount is running away from his stalker to Manchester United. Let's have it right. Okay, let's see what happens there. This one here, let's see what else we have here. Nobody in our squad. Oh, God, the Frogs deserves 300K a week. But how do you know that he's asking 300K a week? And I think that rumor has actually been debunked a month ago. Let me drift attention to Mount. He isn't good enough to play the Eriksen role. Okay. Eriksen role, you must be having a laugh. So I'm going to scroll quite a few. I want us to get into the lineup prediction exercise as soon as possible. Let's see. Mount from Central London to a dull Manchester United is absurd. it's business. If they can pay him what is the salary he's seeking, he will think twice before moving there. I will eat my words if I'm wrong, but I've watched Mason Mount play for 2-3 years straight. Now I don't see the talent in him to play as a successful eight. Never mind trying to do what Ericsson does. Some argument. I'm being sarcastic. I know Tabero didn't know, but probably when he realized who was speaking, he realized, oh, he was joking. Mount probably wants a Champions League as well. Oh yeah, tell me about it. Players want that a lot, especially if you've tasted it. Mount Sancho, how to pronounce that name? Is it Weghorst? The fantastic trio. Yeah, let them give that a shot. So I'm going to move to the very bottom right now. Sorry?
Weghorst.
Okay, Weghorst. Is that how you pronounce his name? Okay, thank you so much for that lesson. I appreciate that. And this says, we cannot blame Mount as our legend. Lampard is an extremely selfish man by playing players that will not be here next season. Playing guys who won't be here next season might be smart. We are trying to find a way to sell them. Okay, that's an argument, but here's the thing. More importantly, I'd argue that Frank's priority would be to win games or to polish his resume. That's how I see it. Chelsea fans, in terms of Mount, yes, he's good. I'm not sure. I think that's a bit jumbled up there. I'm not able to make sense of it. Mason Mount brings so much division. Yep, that's correct. Arguments and chaos to the fan base. He's no Eden Hazard. Even he was sold. We move on. Whatever happens, if he stays fine, if he leaves, I'll move on like this. Honestly, I won't even think about it 2 days. But I've heard people saying it will be a big mistake. It will be one of the biggest mistakes that the club has ever made, and all that. Yada yada yada. No, that's the least of my concerns. Really, we've sold better players in the past. If Mount was saying any other player at this fan base would have called for his head for not extending. Hypocrisy at its finest. But in this case, people are saying whatever happens. A lot of people actually are arguing whatever happens, it's all the owners are all should be blamed for that. But I don't think that should be the case. It just doesn't. It's an argument that doesn't make any sort of sense. We're moving from that. It's 50 million. That's the rumor. Everything is spiraling everything is spilling out of frustration and tears. They usually forget about the like button. Better to talk about punch ball, which players fit, looking towards Kovacs next season after Gant goes. I hope we're able to keep Kovacic, but let's see what happens. Mount went to Man United and got 1 year on his contract. Todd Bowley can ask for 18 million, but we're not paying that. 15 million, I'll go home. I hope there's a bidding war. I hope whatever that again. I don't know how far up that would drive his price tag. It is only 50 million. Then don't sell Mount. Let him stay, and maybe he will enjoy his stay with Poch and sign a new contract. That's a huge risk because he's not guaranteed the starting place. And forget the rumors that Poch is trying to convince him to put pen to paper for a new contract. There's no way to confirm that. It's all speculations, and I think we should take it with a pinch of salt and not take it seriously. But we move on. First, I want to ask you if you're in the chat. What formation, what structure do you think Frank Lampard will go with, and why do you think that? Why do you think that's the case? Tabejo, I'm going to start with you, but it sounds like you're on the road. It sounds like you're actually driving. But your thoughts? What formation do you think, or structure, if you prefer, do you think he deploys tomorrow, or today, so to speak? In a few hours, actually. Go ahead, Tabejo.
Yeah, I think Frank Lampard will use 4-3-3 formation again because it seems like he likes this formation. So I see him
But
playing
that
it
wasn't the
again
structure
today.
we played the
But I'm
last
not
time.
sure. I'm not sure.
Okay.
To be honest, I'm not sure.
Yeah, and thank you for showing your idea. I think we played with a back three the last time. Yep. So go ahead with what you were saying. If you are, but IBC, what structure do you think it deploy later in the day today? Do you think it go with a 4-3-3 structure? Do you think it will go with a 3-4-3? Or what do you think? Okay, I'm not sure IBZ can hear me. If it comes on, I'll let him speak. So let's see if you're in the chat. I'm waiting. What structure do you think he'd deploy? People will apologize to cover for his loyalty after these selfish academy bunches leave. These academy players lack confidence in their ability. That's a solid argument, and they use a contract situation to start in place. To hold, you could say, hold the club to ransom, for lack of a better term, to get them to succumb to their demands. Maybe I need videos of you playing football, coach. I think I have one ball juggling. I don't think I can find any playing football right now, but maybe I should. Thank you. That's a way how you're trying to find out whether I'm actually good at what I preach at all, or before judging anybody. But that's, by the way, people keep jumping the likes on the stream. The likes do go a long way. We are at 28 likes right now. Let's get it to 50 and shoot for 100 before the show. And thank you so much for all your support. Manchester United may be boring compared to London, but their mass movement of people from London. But there are mass movement of people from London to Manchester and that says at times you get tired of a busy life. I would prefer Mount move there than Arsenal. Oh yeah, I think lots of folks do prefer that. Probably driven you could say driven by the rivalry between the two clubs. Maybe Gallagher thinks we cannot see him. I cannot understand why we should sell Mount before his cardio cousin. If I had to keep one, it definitely would not be the headless chicken. Wow. Maybe we should try not to use that term. But that's, by the way, Keshawn, I want to bring you in immediately. Your thoughts with the Mount situation. Just let us go. I know, but go ahead. Since you haven't spoken about that, you go ahead, speak about it, and I'll ask you what formation you think Frank Lampard would deploy. And while you're in the chat, while we wait for Keshawn to land, I want to get your thought. What structure or formation, if you prefer, do you think Frank Lampard would deploy today? Keshawn, big up, by the way, and thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. You have the floor. Go ahead, speak. Are you speaking already? Because we can't hear you. Okay, it looks like everybody is having audio issues. Unfortunately, I cannot hear you, Keshawn. Let's see. For me, I'm not too sure. Koulibaly is back. Koulibaly played a few minutes in the last game, which means I think he'd be ready to play in this game. So I'd say a back three. I think we have players to play with a solid back three. What do you think? Do you think it go with the back three since we have Koulibaly, who also can play? He can execute the left center back role comfortably. What do you think, Tabeho?
Yes, I agree. Koulibaly can play as a left center back, Thiago Silva in the middle, and then Trevor Chalaba on the right hand side. Will be a good formation. But hopefully, I don't want to see Aspilicueta playing anymore. He's being cooked by kids, and then it's gonna be cooked today if he's gonna play that role.
So you think it will be what structure?
The structure is fine, 3-4-3, but hopefully Ruben Loftus-Cheek plays as a right wing. Yes.
And how long is Kovacic still out? There's nothing.
Yes, he's still out.
He's still out, so probably he won't get to play. So essentially, we have an issue here. Who pairs Enzo in the middle? That's where the question lies right now. I'm not sure what he's going to do there. Let me see. Kante will most likely. I think Kante will be ready.
Coach,
Yeah.
Kishore says he says he's on the backstage. If you can see his text
Okay, I've
from the
added
private
him.
chat. Okay.
Yeah. Just let me take a few questions in the chat, and I'll bring back Kishan to let us know what formation he thinks Frank Lampard will play and why. And if you are in the chat, you answer the same question. Kachila, a question to you. I have to go. Okay. If you have to keep one out of following, which one would you keep? Mount or Gallagher or Kovacic? Honestly, I would take Kovacic anytime, any day. And yeah, but I'm concerned that he could end up leaving, and I'm not gonna like that. Kovacic, believe me, I believe he could be Pochettino's Musa Dembele at Chelsea. He's that player. Kovacic actually, unfortunately for him, he's that sort of player because he doesn't score too many goals, doesn't get too many assists. A lot of people don't see that. They just see the fact that sometimes if he has every bad game now here and there, they start complaining about how he doesn't score too many goals, doesn't create too many chances. But the fact is that he does more to us, and because he starts deep, he starts in a deeper position, playing the hybrid role of 8 and 6. He doesn't spend too many time closer to the final third. If anything, he's done more defensively. Even though he's not the most defensive player, he contributes defensively too on his day. But he's the only player that keeps us playing when we play against teams that defend deep or teams that press us aggressively. Because he's a good dribbler and also can find solutions in tight spaces. So I'll take Kovacic over those players, but that's my opinion. I know a lot of people think otherwise. People are actually pushing for the club to let him go and keep Mount, actually. Manchester is so boring, so I'm not going to discuss how the cities differ, please. That's not what we're here to talk about. If Kante is fit, I think he will make a good pairing with Enzo Fernandez. Kante being charged to be the more disciplined of the two players, while Enzo, will have the independence of venture, be more adventurous, not venture forward. Good morning to you two. To be honest, I don't care where anyone goes once we get good money off of them, so we can improve our team. Because let's be honest, nobody wasn't playing this season. Is what lucky last season. Maybe you can argue that Chukwuemeka is starting. I hope he starts. But I remember you said that. But where does he fit really? That's one of the reasons why you hardly seen me make strong arguments for him to start, because I'm not too sure. Where I know I think the little I've seen of Cardi Chukwuemeka points at me, to the argument that he looks like an 8, not a deep line midfielder. But a lot of people I've seen lineups online, people deploying him as one of the 2 6s. I don't think that I think it'd be better off playing as an 8. From what the little I've seen him from the highlights of his videos. I was it Aston Villa. Get Casado and Polniha since Orate is PSG bound. Is he really? Wow. And do you think Casado will actually want to come to us if there are other clubs interested in signing him? He would want Champions League football too, just like all other players do. Okay. All right. Enjoy yourself. Lampard is waiting. Okay, go speak with them to the starting lineup. Okay. Thank you. Lamps out, Poch in. That's not going to happen. Lampard finishes the season. Chelsea owners should be careful with his selections due to buying so many young players without having experience in their midst. I think too many young players can be problematic. We need experience. You could argue Arsenal bottled the league due to lack of experience in depth. I am having a party on Sunday for getting rid of Lampard once and for all. Holy smokes, yeah. But I understand your argument. Kova has to start a deep because players like Cucurella are not capable to play out from the back. I think that's a solid argument. Kova has to take the ball. Yep, he has to help us progress the ball from the back. And now alone, alone since J5 is gone. Yeah. And I think Kova, you can argue what's the player again that we we were able to see the best of Jorginho when we did due to Kovacic, because Kovacic, you get the best of Jorginho when there's when you have a player on the pitch who will always provide extra passing lane for Jorginho. That's when you see the best of Jorginho. And Kova, he and Jorginho, you could say they had an almost telepathic connection between the two of them at one point. But at some point, we started seeing only one of the two at the same time. 4-2-3-1 and start Carney and Fofana. Unfortunately, I don't think Lampard will go for that structure. Midfield shouldn't be a dribblers. I know you were going to come with that argument. They should pass, move with dynamism and vision. Cover isn't good enough. And believe me, you're entitled to your argument. And I'm entitled to mine. Kovacic is our most press-resistant player, and no one else progresses the ball like he does. Who's going to bring those attributes to the game if we sell him? Unfortunately, a lot of people think otherwise. A lot of people think otherwise. Like I said, unfortunately for him, he's that sort of player because he doesn't score too many goals and doesn't assist the most. People will just say, sell him. And argue all you like. Argue all you like. In my opinion, I think, honestly, as bad as a lot of Chelsea fans are, thought that Jorginho was for us, I'd argue that would have been better off had he still been with us, really. Honestly, that's my personal opinion. Argue all you like. As good as Enzo is, Enzo will never be Jorginho, and Jorginho will never be Enzo. So Enzo isn't actually a replacement for Jorginho. If anything, they are two different profile players. But that's a delicious comment of the day from my bro, the beautiful game, and I appreciate that. It makes sense. That day, 4-2-3-1 will come with Pochettino. I know that predominantly, even if he switches it up every now and then, it will be predominantly the 4-2-3-1 structure. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. We have 30 likes. Let's get the likes up. Remember, we're shooting for 200 likes. Let's get it to 100. Then we're halfway. I really think we need a size and physicality. Yeah, we need to mix it up. Pep did that, and he did it gradually. They have a physical team, actually, as good as they play. Usually that's not the case. Kylian, what's his name again? What's his first name? Turam, I've forgotten. You're talking about the DM, 6'4". He's a tall boy. Strong, fast, etc. Without we have that profile of player, I think we've done the closest thing we had. I using the word had because I'm not sure. He's not been on the bench actually for a while now. Was Zakaria, who was on loan, who's still on loan because the loan ends at the end of the season. It's very important in the EPL from history and current times. It just works. I think it's a solid argument. We need to mix it up. Let's see. Players like Alba, Pogba, Casemiro signed with our Champions League football. For what club? Yeah, but lots of players look at that. And usually without Champions League football, they have to look at your project, where you are at, and whether there's a possibility for you to achieve Champions League football in the coming season. They look at that. And sometimes you're able to convince them. By paying them something, paying over the board in terms of salary to convince them to come, because it is business for all parties involved after all. So you can actually convince players to come to you, whether you have Champions League football or not, if you're able to pay them more. Emeka is a natural 8, so yeah, my instincts are correct. The way he plays shows he's an 8, but do I think he'd get a chance today? I'd be shocked if he starts today, but let's see what happens. Kachila Kova is 29 and injury prone, but you could argue with the one that made him so, because we overplayed him. He was not important to us. But let's see. That may well be, a good argument, but I haven't thought about that. I haven't at any time thought about that, and I still don't think he's injury prone. But we'll see what happens. How many years would you extend his contract to? You can give him 2 years extension, but probably if he feels like he'd get more by leaving, I think he'd do that. It's business for all parties involved, and I'm going to keep preaching that. Or maybe if he doesn't like the construct of the new contract format, he may well decide to leave, if that makes sense. Players over 30 should be on a low carb diet to avoid injuries. Okay, you're sounding like a doctor. I'm not a doctor, if that makes sense to you. If Kovacic wasn't almost 30, maybe, but at this age and injury prone, I don't know. Yes, people, I've asked the question and I'm waiting for your response. What formation do you think Frank Lampard would deploy today, given the players we have available? I understand Kova is press resistant. What one-on-one goes, one or two goes, then one or two goes a season. We need someone who can do more. I hated Jorginho only left on right passes. Nothing like who? I'm not sure. Here's the thing. In Jorginho's case, here's the thing: how a player applies himself, how a player applies himself on the pitch, you can argue comes down predominantly to the manager's demand. At Arsenal, has Jorginho? How many times have you seen him? He rarely passes backwards or sideways. So it all comes down to the demand of the manager. Even on the ground, Potter, we saw more vertical passes from Jorginho than we did under Thomas Tuchel. So it all comes down to how the manager wants to approach the game. If Kova agrees to stay as a squad player, then of course keep him. But if your plan is to keep him as a squad player, I'd let you know he's more likely to leave than stay. I think 3-5-2 boss parking. Wow, some argument right there. So I'm waiting to get your argument. Let's see whether we have a good Fort Mob here. Let's go to Fort Mob and see if we have if they have a correct list of players that are out injured, but I'm not sure. I've looked at it before, and they didn't have Cover's name listed as injured, and that's concerning. Let's see what else we have here before I start looking at Fortnite again. I had to remove them sharing so that I can, because it was blank, and I think that's not good for the audience. Let me see here what's slowing down my highlight screen. And oh my goodness, why is this not showing? It's taking too much time. Okay, show now. Let's see what you have there. The only reason I don't care about Kova leaving is simply because he wants to leave. Yeah. The rumors are that Kova wants to leave the club. He's looking for a fresh challenge, and that's where I'm concerned. If we're to believe that, which means we should just let him go. He wants to leave, so it does not matter to look into what we do, what we do or not. If he's in the team, he wants to leave. Order his Uber and help him order one and let him leave. Eugene will convince him to stay. Yeah, let's hear from him if he has time. And this is a coach. When Kova pops up in City's midfield, wow, they're gonna be fearsome. Honestly, I just don't want us to sell him to City, even though we may not have too much say with regards to what club he joins. And balls out next season. Watch the fan base lose their minds. I think he's a perfect. You could argue he's a perfect. What's his name? Pep type of player. If that makes sense. So let's look at the players we have out injured and see if Coven is listed there. Let's see what we have here. What's the injured players? Injured and suspended players for Chelsea. We have Reece James, N'Golo Kante, Mason Mount, Marcus Bettinelli, Marc Cucurella, Benoit Badiashile, Ben Chilwell, Armando Broja. Because the rumors were that Kova he had a knock, so it doesn't look like he's still injured. And did Frank mention? I don't remember. Did he mention anything with regards to Kova's fitness during this presser? I don't remember that either. Coach, if you're Tobias, did Frank say anything with regards to Kova's fitness during his presser? Did he? Keshan, do you remember that?
No. I think Kovacic is still not available at the moment, so I don't think he will play tomorrow.
You don't think so?
No, it's not. Kovacic is not available.
I don't. He's not listed as injured here, but let's see what happens. But thank you.
Let me double check for you. But again, ever since he was injured, I never seen a report saying Kovacic is back from training. So, but let me double check for you.
Okay, let me see. Yes, but he would not start in City's midfield squad. Okay, I hope a 4-2, a 3-1. Based on the injuries, the youth can get a chance to show how hungry they are and put our minds to rest. I hope he does that. I will swap cover for Gundogan. But Gundogan, did you think? I know Marcus Thuram, the son of Lilian Thuram. He plays for Borussia Mönchengladbach. I think did I mix something up when Constantin Dante mentioned the player? I thought he was mentioning, was he mentioning Fofana? Maybe I missed things up. I thought he was talking about the young defensive midfielder that plays what club in France. So I mixed things up. I know Marcus Thuram very well, and I know he doesn't want to come to Chelsea. But thank you for bringing that up. Maybe I was mixing things up. Yeah, but thank you for saying that. Yeah, we wanted him, and he plays for Mönchengladbach, and he said he wanted to wait to the end of the season to consider his options carefully. And Barcelona are also interested in him, but it doesn't look like he wants to come to us. He can also play as a winger, not just as a striker too. But thank you for saying that. Coach Kova is not going to start. The theme for today will be youth. I hope so. I hope Frank does that. But chances are, if he has enough experienced players available to him, I think he select experienced players. Okay. So the Thuram you're mentioning, is he what position does he play? Constantin Dante, that's for you. Thuram is a midfielder. Marcus is a striker. So once you're mentioning those names, mention only one. I think there's also another Fofana that's a defensive midfielder too. So yeah, we have to be using first names so that it's not confusing. Don't fry my brain, please. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. We have 32 likes, and I haven't heard much about what structure people in the chat thinks that he's going to deploy. And this is actually, by the way, this is a probable lineup, but I think I think Frank Lampard will most likely start Koulibaly in the left centre back position and play Chalobah in the right centre back position, because it looks like he probably, from what has happened of late, how shaky Fofana has looked of late, I think he may well decide to not start him in this game. But this is just a probable lineup, not the starting lineup. I had to use that to see if they say anything about Kovacic and Tabajo. I don't know if you've seen anything. Poch's dilemma. Poch wants to build a team around a core of young players. Silva does not fit the profile of that plan, but he has been Chelsea's best player. He's also one of the few. I think I get it, because Poch likes to play a very high line. You can say Silva can still play centrally and lead the line. I think he will find a way to conduce that issue for the lack of pace. But I think Silva also will be all right. Given his ability to read the game, I think he'd be able to be part of that team and still be effective for us. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. We are at 32 likes. We can do better than that. Keyframe Thuram. Okay, that's a DM, but it's easy to mix the names up. Plays for Nice in France. Thank you so much for saying that. DM, and here's Constantin Dante stating that one by one, so we don't miss that. Yeah, Holland, Haaland, yeah, Hutchins, yeah, all those names. But thank you for clarifying the Thuram you're mentioning. But that's, by the way, let's get into the lineup building exercise. Keshan, who do you think starts and go? For me, I think it will be. I think Kepa keeps his place. I'm not sure, but that's what in my opinion, I think he starts. But who do you think starts between the sticks?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kepa.
Why do you think Kepa starts? You sure that's what you just sure that's what Frank Lampard is going to do?
I'm not sure of anything, honestly. But
Mhm.
I'll just put Kepa in goal. Why not?
Yeah. How about you, Tabel? Who do you think starts between the sticks? Are you there? If you're on the chat, you go ahead. I want to get your thoughts. Who do you think starts between the sticks? I think it's going to be Kepa. For the fact that Frank benched. Who was the last, who was in between the sticks in the last game for us? It was Kepa Arrizabalaga, right?
Yeah, it was Kepa.
Yeah. So benching, I think the fact that he benched was Mendy is that probably he felt like he didn't do well enough, or when he gave him the opportunity to start ahead of Kepa Arrizabalaga. So let's see. If you're in the chat, I'm waiting to hear from you. What structure do you think Frank Lampard deploys, and or maybe who do you think starts between the sticks? What formation do you think Lampard will use? Let me use that question. A 4-3-3, one of them. Let's go for 4-3-3.
I think he'll probably use like a 3-5-2.
Yep. Or 3-4-2-1 a structure.
Yeah,
Maybe.
either one.
Mm-hmm. So let me see. Let me just put this in the chat. I'll be back with you. 3-5-2, one of them. Three. In 3-4-2-1. One of them. 3-4-2-1. So there you go. We have 4-3-3. We have 3-5-2, and we have 3-4-2-1 as our options there. For me, I think it makes sense. Kepa starts between the sticks. I don't think he will rest Silva. I think Silva starts. I get it. Koulibaly is ready, but I think Silva still starts this game here centrally, and I think it will be on the left hand side. I think he'd go for Koulibaly. He played a few minutes in the last game, which shows you could argue that he's ready to start. What do you think, Keshawn?
Yeah, I think he's ready to start.
Yeah, let's see. How many minutes did he play in the last game? Let's look at it quickly. Yeah, let me see when he came in. That's what I want to look at here. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. We're at 34 likes. It's a slow day today. The likes do go a long way, please, if you haven't, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We need with the short video, YouTube shorts that we've been creating. We've gained a lot of subscribers from that. We need about I think it's 77. Yeah, 77 more subscribers to get to 11,000 subscribers. That's not easy, and we're getting there. Let's see. I want to find out when Koulibaly came on. Let's see. Koulibaly. Okay. 81 minutes. He played around 10 minutes. I think he'd be ready to start this one, in my opinion. Let's see. Here, Mendy, Fofana, Silva, Chalobah, Hall, back for Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Enzo, midfield, Madueke, Felix, and Harvard. Okay, here's the thing. Let me ask you this, Chelsea, all the way. Is that your preferred lineup, or is that what you think Frank Lampard will do? You let me know. I want to know, because from what I'm seeing, it just sounds as if that's your preferred lineup. If I do my preferred lineup,
Yeah, that's probably his preferred lineup. Because,
yeah,
Frank is putting
guessing.
Gallagher up front or some. Gallagher's going to play somewhere.
So I'm thinking, let's go. If you have any argument as to why you don't think this is correct and you're there, I think Lampard trusts Chalobah. So if he's going to go for a back three, where Thiago Silva starts centrally and Koulibaly on the left-hand side, then I think there will be no place for there will be no place for Wesley Fofana, except if he plays Chalobah in the right wing back position, which I don't think he do, and will not make any sort of sense. Maybe that was when he will accommodate Wesley Fofana in the right centre back position. So this 2-6-6, Keshan, who do you think will be? Enzo most definitely will start, but who do you think pairs him?
I'll probably go with Conte with him. Yeah,
It's not injured, right?
That's a good question. There might be an injury. I don't know.
I think he should be available right now. This says, okay, he's injured. He's doubtful. So but let's go to that to the main game. That was, I don't think they changed things I think that's with regard to the game against Man United. So let's go to the game, today's game, and look at where what they have for him. So let's see. So Kante is
Yeah,
not
he's
here.
doubtful.
Oh,
He's
he's here.
doubtful.
Muscle injury. So say doubtful. I think he may well play. I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I think he
Um,
will.
and Lampard didn't say. Did Lampard say anything with regards to players who know who's not going to be available for this game? I don't remember that. Him mentioning Kante not being available for this game, or maybe if because we're just going to be there's nothing to play for this season. He may well just decide to be not to risk it. I'm not too sure. But let's see. That's your preferred lineup. Okay, let me look at it again. Look at it again. Mendy, Fofana, Silva, Koulibaly, Chalobah, Hall, back five. You think? Okay. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Enzo. Okay, Enzo in the midfield. Madueke, Felix, and Havertz. Hmm. Henry or Tyler, let me see why was your message deleted. And Henry, if you're watching, please stop. Do not use all caps. That can lead to your message being deleted. And at one point, Nightbot will actually time you out. It thinks, oh, sees this as if you're spamming the chat. So, Kashan, it's not going to be too simple here. If we're
Yeah,
going with a 3-4-2-1 structure, Enzo is in, but who plays Enzo? Do you think Gallagher gets a chance there? I
I
think
would
so.
say Gallagher, but I think Frank's gonna put him up top. So
You think he's going to put him as one of the 2-8s?
I think he's gonna put him up top. Yeah, I don't. He loves putting Gallagher in the front three, man. I don't know, but you could
So
put
we can
him
say
there.
Hall, Lewis Hall, in the left wing back position. Right wing back position is not where what would I would have if we were to if, again up to me. I would have gone with Ruben Loftus-Cheek on the flanks here in the right wing back position because he's played there on occasions and he hasn't been bad whenever he got the chance to play in that position. But
Yeah,
Frank will always do what Frank wants to do. But let's look at that Man City game again and see uh, the lineup
as,
again, how he utilized them. Go ahead. You were saying something?
as the right wing back, I wouldn't mind seeing Madueke as the right wing back, honestly. But yeah, I see him probably picking RLC as the right wing back. Probably Ashley, honestly. I don't know. Yeah, he'll probably put Ashley Glitter.
And 67% thinks, and that's out of 6 votes, thinks it's going to be a 4-3-3 structure. Wow. That may well happen. But let's see what we have here. Where did he, the last game against Man City, I want to look at that. Just give me 1 second here. How where the players were placed. I keep dropping the likes on the stream, people, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. It was a 3-4-1-2. Gallagher operated as a 10.
Yeah, I
Um,
think we're gonna do the same thing, honestly.
I think he will most likely be the same. But
Yeah, yeah, I think
wow.
Gallagher is gonna be the 10. Yeah, yeah, I think that's gonna how it's gonna be again. Aspie at the wing back, Loftus Cheek in the middle. Yeah, I think this is exactly what he's gonna do.
Yeah, Loftus-Cheek didn't have a bad game. I think he did well. So 3-4-1-2, right? So we're flipping it to accommodate the 10 light, but something like this. Okay, so let's see. So you think it's gonna be the same? Is that what you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's looking like it's gonna be. Maybe I think yeah, he may well give Aspilicueta another chance there. Um, yeah, this is concerning really. Should we even actually waste the time and do a watch along? That's your preferred lineup. I suspect that was the case. Let's see. Chalobah, right wing back. I don't want to see more Aspie, but unfortunately, I think Aspie did he play the full 90 minutes on the day actually? Yeah, he played 90 minutes.
Sheesh.
Yeah, so I think he will most likely start him again. Um, I'm not sure, but if I were Frank Lampard, if I'm Frank Lampard, but I'm not sure about the availability of N'Golo Kante and what's his name, Mateo Kovacic, because those two players, if they're available, then that changes everything. But we're not too sure, and I don't think he'd risk Kante. But Frank could be selfish this time. He just wants to win. He hasn't done well since his return to the club. Maybe decide to risk Kante if it's actually 70% fit. I'm not sure what he's going to do there. So Gallagher may well get the chance to play in that position there. Let me see. Maybe, but I don't see Frank doing that. If I see Gallagher at 10, I'm convinced Lampard is accepting bribes from players. Exchange for game time. I'm really not too sure what he's going to do. I have to be honest. So we will finish this structure and then we'll try. Since 70% thinks it's going to be a 4-3-3 structure, we're going to do another one with 4-3-3. But let's try and complete this one. You can say, yeah, Loftus-Cheek here, RFC. RFC, yep. I think he did well enough in that position that they think he's his best option. But I think Loftus-Cheek will only get to play in that as one of the 2 sixes today if Kovacic and Kante aren't available. That's the only time we see him there. Right wing back, Aspilicueta most likely. I get it. He was awful the last time. But I think I don't see Frank looks like he doesn't want to risk playing what's his name? He doesn't want to risk playing Noni Madueke here. For me, I'd do that. And I can see the likes of Tuchel and Graham Potter doing that. Start a winger in the right wing back position with an attacking intent, but you have to do where the issue lies when you start a winger in the wing back position. If the 2 sixes are not defensively cautious, there could be quite a lot of you could say quite a lot of pressure on the right centre back player. That they break if they come at them too many times. Let's see what we have here. Who knows with Lampard? Don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. And Josh Mybro is asking a question here. Fofana is available at CB. I think he's available, but the argument is that it looks like Frank Lampard trusts Chalobah more. I think we're thinking that's what he's going to do. If it were up to me, if I'm building my preferred lineup, I'd have Fofana in the right centre back position and not Chalobah. But I think I may well. I'm going to use the poll here. 58% thinks it's going to be 4-3-3. 42% thinks it's going to be 3-5-2. And big up, Josh. You've not been that active on Twitter these days. I hope everything's all right with you. Fofana is available, but let's see if it starts him. I'm going to use the poll to see who the Fofana right centre back, Chalo right wing back. Chalo can actually, since he's played right back in, his being offensively he hasn't done bad. Actually, offensively he's actually been better than some of those players who's played in that position because he puts the ball into the box with intent. He looks up, finds where his man is, and crosses the ball for them. So I'm going to use a poll to see if that's going to be the case. Let's see. I wouldn't start Aspilicueta there. I'd rather start Chalobah there, but Frank Lampard may well go for him. But let's see. I'm going to use the poll. On Lampard's press conference, he said the injury status of the players remain the same. Okay. I'm not seeing. I don't know whether it's maybe the app is not up to date. I didn't see Kovacic on the list of injured players. Fofana played the last game. Yep, he did, but Koulibaly comes in now. And if he's going to come in, he comes. I believe Koulibaly comes in, and I believe he comes in the left centre-back position in a 3-at-the-back structure. Which leaves a single space in the right centre-back position for Chalobah or Wesley Fofana. No, he definitely doesn't. So you think he doesn't trust Chalobah? I think, haven't we had a situation where a lot of people thought Wesley Fofana was going to start, and we saw Chalobah start? Hasn't that been the case before? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not too sure. But let's see what happens. But more importantly, Josh, big up to you. Lampard would definitely start Gallagher and Loftus-Cheek. But let's see. Let me use the poll here and not just jump to the conclusion. So let me ask right centre back. For me, my preference would have been Chalobah, but from what I've seen, I think that's making me come to the conclusion that it looks like he trusts Chalobah and would like start him over Wesley Fofana. But we'll see what happens. Let's see. Let's ask those in the chat. Right centre back. Okay, right centre back. And unfortunately, or in the case of Christian Pulisic, my fellow American, things has actually gotten so bad for him that we don't even consider him during the lineup. Kishan, what do you make of that?
Shameful. My God.
Yeah.
He just needs to go as far away from this club as possible.
Yeah, I want him to leave. I don't think that they value him. I don't think the club value him. He needs to go where he'd be respected because he's a good player. He's a big game player, actually. I think, if anything, his injury situation hasn't helped. On occasions where you think, okay, finally he's fit and he gets an ample amount of game time, and then boom, game time, he gets injured against the Chalobah and Fofana, the two options there for that position. Yeah. Just give me 1 second, people. So I think Josh may well be correct, but let's see what he does. Koulibaly starts at left centre back, Fofana right centre back, Chalobah right wing back. But I still don't see Lampard doing that.
Yeah, Chalobah as a left center back.
If we're talking about my preferred lineup, I will most likely do the same because we've seen that Chalobah is actually, again, he can be good offensively. Even if from the right back, occasions when he's played right back, he can venture forward effectively and do that cautiously and still be effective defensively. But unfortunately, we're basing our judgment. We're trying to pick the lineup based on what we believe Frank Lampard would do, and I don't see him playing Chalobah in the right wing back position. But if he plays him there, fine. And like I've argued, I'd rather Fofana start there, but I think he starts Chalobah there. But let's use the poll. Let's see what people think. 100% already thinks it's going to be Chalobah in the right centre back position. Okay, it's going to be a Fofana, so to speak. And that's just 3 votes. But that's, by the way. Let's see what we have here. Apparently, Man United are prepared to offer 63 million. I take that all day long. A lot of people think we're going to take that, but I'm not sure what the club are going to do. The fact we're asking, we're saying we want 80 million shows that we're not serious about selling him, because I don't think anybody will give us 80 million, if that makes sense. Big up, Roger. Welcome to the panel. How have you been, brother? I hope you're okay. Sorry, I haven't reached out to see how you're doing.
Coach, before you go, ask him where is his client, Graham Potter.
Hola, gentlemen.
Should he be telling you where his client is? Go ahead, Roger.
I didn't quite hear the question. Can you repeat it? But it sounded funny.
Yes, he said before you say anything else, we should ask you where Graham Potter is, your client.
Undisclosed location. Client attorney privilege.
Yeah, you shouldn't be disclosing that. Yeah, client attorney privilege. Yeah, you should.
Hey, you guys wanted him out. You get what you asked for. I rest my case, Your Honor.
Yeah, for safety reasons, you're not allowed to disclose where he is. So look at the players we've picked so far. We think, from what you've seen, that's my opinion. I think Frank Lampard probably trusts Chalobah. I think Fofana is a better player, better in carrying the ball. But I think in defending overall, I think so far from what I've seen, in my opinion, I think Chalobah is a better defender overall from what I've seen. But Fofana has the potential to become even better. You can see a bit of that rawness in him. And I don't blame him. He's still at most 22, but I think he should be 22 right now. But what do you make of the selection? And do you think, again, if we're going by with this structure, do you think Chalobah starts in the right centre back position, or do you think it'd be Fofana?
You know what? They both have unique qualities. they both have their, shall we say, each other could complement each other. I think if you combine them both, they are both like an exceptionally elite centre back. If you combine them both together, if you merge them, so to speak. Listen, I haven't seen enough of Fudge. What's his name? Not Chalobah, the other guy.
Fofana.
Fofana. Haven't seen really enough of him to be consistent based on his injury woes. You know, I just haven't seen enough. I honestly, I feel. Listen, yes, he's got a few faux pas in him, but you have to understand both of these chaps are so young in a position that they don't reach their potential for another 6-7 years. I think it's really important that we take that into context and consideration. This is listen, people like Silva or JT, etc., they make it look so easy because the game slows them. It's slowed down. That everything is so easy for them because they've seen it all before. Well, what is Wesley Fofana? 22 years, 5 months. Chalobah, the ripe old age of 23 years, 10 months. Okay, so they're like 17 months apart. I thought they were closer, but still, they're so young. They've got to realistically 4 to 5 years till they reach their peak. So they're going to be learning on the job. That's why you have a position like that. If they're not going to be starting consistently, they need to go out on loan, because this is a very important area where they need to learn how to read the game, if that makes sense. So
it does. So who do you think starts in the right centre back position?
Well, he being Frank, he started, if I'm not mistaken, he started Chalobah in, what was that, the right back, wasn't it? So
he started him left back last
was
game.
Was it left back?
Was it left back or left centre back?
Left centre back.
Left centre back the last game.
Really?
But I think Koulibaly's availability changes everything.
Yes,
and he
I
played
think
10
so.
minutes the last game.
Right. Yes, that's right. Koulibaly came on. I think Fofana is probably going to start. And probably, I personally think that, well, I'm not even sure of the formation he's going to use, but I think he's probably going to play Fofana. And if he does play, because Aspi played the whole game, didn't he, if I'm not mistaken? I need to look at the game stats.
Yeah, he did. He did play the whole game.
I think he'll probably start Chalobah at right back. I really do. Right wing back.
No, if it's how about if it's a player at the back structure? Do you see him? Josh was in the chat and he was suggesting that Chalobah will start in the right wing back position.
Yeah, I think he will. I think Chalobah will start
in the right wing back position.
Yeah, instead of Aspi, and I think he'll put Fofana in as the right centre back.
And here's one thing I think. I'm gonna say this. I think
that's my.
If I were Frank, I'd go with a winger in the right wing back position with an attacking intent.
No, I get it.
He doesn't want to do that.
Like a Madueke and a
like a Madueke,
yeah.
But I think maybe his concern may well have been because no matter how you see it, the 2 6s we've used since the days of Graham Potter, as much as they've been on occasions being effective offensively, they don't do much in terms of protecting the defense. And in a back three structure, where we're using wing backs, where the right wing back player will be most likely be more active in the final third. This guy here should be able to read the game more not to leave these spaces here, to always be able to to drift to the right and cover the space when this guy isn't able to to return quickly to help defensively. They haven't been great at that, but go ahead.
Yeah, my only concern with that is if you do play Mudryk and Madueke in those respective positions, you're going to have to take the good with the bad, meaning that they're going to they don't have enough game time experience, especially in this position. And guess what's going to happen? They're going to be caught, just like Trent Alexander-Jones, who's got a millennium more experience than them. They're going to be caught upfield, and they're going to get caught on the attack. And don't forget, Man U has some very fast wingers and clinical. So, if that does transpire, and I get your logic, coach, because I agree with you, but you've got to consider the opposition. If they get by you and score a couple of goals, for instance, he's going to be lambasted for saying, why are you putting young players in a position where they don't have that experience? Perhaps maybe play one of them, either play a Mudryk in that position and a natural defender on the left wing back, or vice versa. Mudryk on the left and maybe a defensive right winger on the right, to at least compensate for that, perhaps. I mean, it's hard to say, but listen, I get your logic and I agree with it, but you do have to understand that along with that inexperience comes the mental mistakes, not the physical, the mental, because they haven't seen it all yet. It's new. And they're under their second/third coach. So they're not exactly in fine tune. They haven't had a preseason together, so to speak. So, but I get your logic. Maybe after a full preseason, etc., perhaps that's the good choice. But do you see my logic in this?
Yeah, quite clearly. I think those in the chat, we can analyze all we want to try to figure out what we believe Frank Lampard would do. Those in the chat, once they vote, it changes everything. But the right wing back position, if Loftus-Cheek starts as one of the 2 sixes and Kante and Kovacic aren't available, then we may well end up still seeing Azpilicueta here.
Yeah.
That's what I think. What do you think that's going to be the case?
It depends how his legs are. Listen, how many days ago was the last match? 4 or 5 days ago?
Yeah.
It's a Saturday, wasn't it?
I think he'd be ready to play this. You could argue he's been match rusty, actually. Because had he been playing you could say, had he been playing constantly, I think he's still, he'd be doing better than he did in that game.
You can bring him off after 60 or 70 minutes because his legs won't be that position specifically, as opposed to a back four. That duty is to run up and down. It takes his toll, and bless him, he doesn't have the legs anymore. That's not his fault. It's just
no, it's not in any way.
He's a byproduct of Father Time.
Yeah. Roger, realistic Roger. Constantine Dante. I say hello there. Porter is on the set of his next movie, Graham Potter and the Goblet of Tears. Wow. Let me see.
Lord.
Aspi should play right center back. You can say that's a more less demanding role of the two. So if Aspi is going to start, it will make sense. That is, if Chalobah doesn't start in the right center back position, I'm still suspecting there's a chance Frank Lampard, he may decide not to start Koulibaly and play Chalobah in the left center back position, like he's done before.
That's a strong possibility. It all depends.
But there's no telling what will happen, really.
It all depends on the health. That we don't know. We're not privileged with that information.
We're not. In the case of Thomas Tuchel, at one point you could say 9 times out of 10, I usually get this predict this lineup correctly. But now you don't know what's going to happen.
No.
So there's a chance Koulibaly will not start, but I think his availability changes everything, or maybe makes it difficult for Frank at least. But if Koulibaly starts, then the problem now begs the question, and if Fofana starts in the right centre-back position, then Chalobah also is a contender for this position here, which I'm not too sure who's going to start, because I don't understand Frank.
I wouldn't mind seeing Fofana as a wing back too, because I think he's fast.
Yes, he likes overlapping.
But you know who's impressed me and has exceeded my expectations was Chalobah going forward. The way he takes the ball through the lines and his crossing and his passing. I mean,
his crossing more especially for me.
Intent,
with intent, and it doesn't. He's not one of those that just puts it in the box. Then the players in the box should try and get at the end of the cross. He looks up, finds who he wants to get the ball to, and crosses with intent. And he's been successful. How many times now? I'm not counting, but at least I've seen that myself. And
I didn't know he had that in his game.
That's excellent for me.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I did not know he had that in his game until this last
I didn't know either.
I
didn't know either. My preference when I saw the lineup, I argued would have been to play a winger in the wing back position and go with the back three and all that. But from the right back position, he played like that. He's played the role all his life. Aspie should play right center. Like I said, it's the less demanding of the two roles. In the wing back position, lots of running there. Let's see what else we have here. Smash a like with them, people, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I think things are a bit slow today. With people's interests are in the transfer market more than lineup of building exercise, prediction exercise. I mean, that's fine. It's so fun. And the right system of formation and players in the correct positions wins this game. But this is Frank we are talking about. It's even difficult to predict what he's going to do. You could argue, just as Graham Potter is predictably unpredictable. I think Man United are too good for Chelsea, so I think they will get beaten. They will get beat.
Yeah,
that sounds like you're an American. But he will settle for a draw. Let's see what else we have here. Keep dropping.
They are not too good. You guys think United's that much better than us? I don't.
No, I don't think so. I think they still have issues in some positions. They're inconsistent. Yeah. I want Chelsea to beat United, and they are so arrogant. I think we can beat them. If we have either of Kovacic or Kante available, then that will boost my confidence that we can actually beat them. But without those two available, it will be even more difficult.
Sorry, coach, is Casemiro available?
Let me look at their injury list.
He's one player that I'm concerned about from them.
He's an excellent passer of the ball too. A lot of people don't know that.
He reads the game very well.
Yeah.
But they paid a lot of shirt buttons for him. They coughed out big money.
This is not the game I should be looking at. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I actually didn't think that he was worth the money, but I've watched quite a few of their matches with Casemiro in there, and he looks like he's been playing in the Premier League for years. There's been no drop off. He looks like an elite player for United that's realistically has not been a good team this year. So this tells you something, the class with which he has. You know, I know he's made a few faux pas, but who hasn't? He's been a great addition to them, sadly. You know.
Yeah, Casemiro is available. They have Tom Heaton out, Phil Jones out, Sabitzer out.
Do you know something?
Yeah, Alessandro Martinez and Donny van de Beek. He's been out for a while now. So Casemiro will partner Ericsson if they go with a 4-2-3-1 structure, which is the most likely. I get it. They've been up and down, but you can see. The truth is they're in a better form than us. I did watch the other game last night. Congratulations to Brighton and Hove Albion, and good luck next season in the first season in the Europa League. I think they do well, but they probably need They need a deeper squad than what they have right now. Otherwise, they will the Europa League would drain the life out of them. They'll start struggling in the league. Solution then is Fofana, Chalobah on the right side centre back. Either way, I think Josh's argument makes sense. But I still thinking I think there was a game I expected Fofana to start, or someone else to start in the left centre back position. I think was it the Premier League game where I expected. I think it wouldn't be right to argue he trusts Chalobah more than Fofana. Maybe subconsciously, that my argument stems from the fact that I think one domestic game, not a Champions League game, where I expected Badiashile to start, but he went with Chalobah rather. I think I'm correct. I think that's what happened. Correct me if I'm wrong. That was maybe I started thinking maybe he trusts Chalobah well enough that if Koulibaly starts in the left centre back position, it drop Fofana and start Chalobah in the right centre back position. But let's see what Frank does. This is just we're trying to predict what we believe it's due. If I do my preferred lineup, it'd be different altogether. Maybe that may well be what we'll see. Either way, I wish Brighton good luck next season. I wish them good luck too. They deserve it. They play well. Good football, and plus, not just good, but also how should I say assertive? Very progressive football too.
What did you think of that goal, coach?
That's go by that logo from and Ciso, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Ciso.
vicious goal. It was so well placed. The goalkeeper just had to jump up and hit himself on the ground just for the sake of making an attempt to stop it, because he wasn't even close.
No, well, it was in the top left-hand corner. It came very close.
Is it top left or top right hand?
I believe it was top left-hand.
And I think it was top right hand.
No,
but
sir,
go ahead.
left hand. It went. If you're the goalkeeper and you have the back towards the goal, it's left hand.
Oh yeah, you're seeing it from a goalkeeper perspective.
Always, coach. Always.
Okay, go ahead. Top right hand side. If you're watching it again, if you're the viewer, go ahead.
If you're the keeper, it's the top left, right? So,
okay.
I now I get your I get it. So, listen, this is what I wanted to say. And I brought this up for a reason. If Kepa is in goal there and we conceded that shot, people will be saying,
let's just say it was his fault.
Yeah, exactly. There are shots from 25 or so yards out that are unstoppable because of the way the ball can curve in today's game. You know, back in my day, that ball never moved that much. It just didn't. So do you understand? It's like there are certain, that's why we need to shut down the attempts from outside the box. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. That's where my complaint with regards to the 2-6s, they've not been doing enough to protect the defense. Yeah. And that's an issue.
And we've seen some worldies outside of the box in the last 7 to 10 days against world-class keepers, like the Madrid City game. Both of them conceded worldies. So that's my point, you know. Any keeper can concede a goal when it's perfectly struck, when it's a worldie.
Yeah, let's see. Maybe let's see how correct we will be today. I'm sure we're not going to be even close. This is Constantine Dante. My bro says we have Lampard and Sterling. We cannot beat them. This is Sean is right. United are open down. I'd be very surprised if they beat us. That's why I say 0-0 draw, which is customary, like you said the day before. Or I could go for a 0-0 draw at Old Trafford. There has been, you could say so many draws against them. Maybe the most likely outcome would be a draw, even after looking at the statistics. You just say, but because the beautiful game did mention something that I think that is the case with regards to whenever we play Manchester United. It doesn't matter the form of either team. Either teams, once the other team scores, the other scores. If the other no scores, it ends in 0-0. But let's see. Maybe I hope we'll see a different outcome this time, and us winning, even though there's nothing at stake. But pride, maybe. Yes, Casemiro is a size in DM. He's a fine player, picks up good passes from deep, and can also score good goals. Casemiro looks like an elite player. He is elite. He is elite for sure, and he has won. Except for the World Cup, has won nearly everything there is to win as a player. What did you think of Newcastle United playing Champions League again after 20 years? I mean, it's they deserve to be there. Actually, they have they're a big club. But it's just Mike Ashley, the former owner. You can say he wasn't going to invest how much that was needed to get them to the level they are right now. I don't think they have actually reached there, but with good planning and good recruitment, you can say they're way ahead of the time with their project. Go ahead, Keshan, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I think they're going to make a lot of moves this transfer window now that they have the Champions League. And I like their process. They didn't just go and just buy everyone. They took their time adding new people, and
they were strategic with their signings.
Yeah.
Very.
And that's why I'd advise them not to sign too many. I get it. If they're not perfect, they still probably need a squad depth of good players. They need to make a few signings, but not too much. Otherwise, it would be problematic for them, if that makes sense. I think it's good. They're a big club, and they're in the top four now, which makes it. And which makes it even more difficult for us to get back in there, because they will strengthen for sure. Frank held a 4-0 slapping in this fixture before. If I even suspect something similar, he should be sacked at halftime. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen, especially now that with Sutton, nothing happens. Mathematically, it's impossible for us to go down. I want Chelsea to beat United, so their Champions League qualification will be taken to the wire. It makes the remaining games more interesting. United need a point to make top four, so we should try and beat them. A draw will help them. No offense, Roger. If everything is shut down by outfield players, why do we need a goalkeeper?
Funny.
It's about time Newcastle are back. They are a massive club. Maybe that's the language I should have used to appeal to my British and Australian friends, to members of the community who are from those part of the world. Massive club, a massive stadium. Just owner was crap. You don't blame him. He's doing again. You can say he actually did well for them. Do you want him to spend all his money on the club when he cannot afford to do that? He did what he had to do. He actually tried for them, actually, if you ask me. But he's shown that actually he does care about the club's success by selling. Gordon was the worst signing, and Gordon thought he was moving where he's going to be starting games week in, week out. I think probably looks like something that he's going to regret. So keep dropping the likes on the stream, people, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The likes do go a long way. Thanks so much for finding the time to join the show. So Roger, you pick who plays here, who plays behind the two men up front, because we're thinking maybe he'd probably go with this the structure he went with against Manchester City. Correct me if the structure differs in any other app you're using, because sometimes these people can get it wrong. But I think it looked more like this. But your thoughts? Do you think he'd go with similar structure, a player in behind the two attacking players?
Yeah, probably either an Enzo or a Kai in the number 11 right there.
You think we already have them here as a 2-6?
I'm sorry, not Enzo. I mean Felix. Sorry, what am I thinking? Felix.
Do you think Felix gets
I think it's going to be Gallagher. It's going to be Connor.
Gallagher gets in.
Yeah, so you've got Ruben Loftus-Cheek there, don't you? I mean, it's a possibility he could put Gallagher. He seems to like him. Don't forget he's a clone of Mount, basically.
Yeah,
he is.
Yeah.
That's probably why he's putting him in everywhere.
And listen, he does score. Look, he scored like 11 goals 2 seasons, or was it last season or the season before when he played for Palace? So he can score. I mean, let's put it this way: he'd be our leading scorer this year with those statistics. So,
and I'm gonna bring up, where's Josh? I just but he looks like he's busy. I'm gonna bring up the argument that it doesn't look like. Let me just start by saying Frank doesn't know what to do with Felix.
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't. He doesn't know what to do with Felix. I think that's the better argument than saying he doesn't trust him. I know he knows him quite well and knows he's a good player, but I don't think he's too sure what to do with him. So which means Gallagher starts, and Gallagher. I don't think he's been our best player since on those 2 games, but I don't think he's the worst, or he's been the worst either. He's actually done good, more good than bad actually. I don't know how to argue that to come across effectively. Get my point across effectively. Roger, what do you think?
It's hard to say. I mean, you've got 3 people that can fill that role: Kai, Gallagher, and Felix.
And honestly, if you ask me, I'd say if Kai playing in behind the 2 players up top, I think actually you see the best of him.
Yeah.
Because every time he drops deep, and he has space to think, time to think what he has to do with. I think he does well. But unfortunately, it started to look like playing in multiple position has ended up confusing the chap more than him actually improving unfortunately, I can't believe I'm saying this as much as I like him as a player. I know he's an intelligent player. But go ahead, Roger. You were saying something.
Yeah, listen, he. This is the position as a second striker that he excels for Germany. Listen, he's had 3 managers in the last 2 seasons, so there's a lack of continuity here, and this takes a toll on players. Different philosophies, different formations, etc. Plus the fact that we've been, shall we say, out of form. And I think that's putting it mildly and politely. So collectively, I'm talking about collectively. So I don't know. It's hard. You know what needs to transpire? They need to, whomever. This is why I would have liked the last 4 or 5 games, injuries aside and rotation aside. I would have liked us to have stuck with a starting 11 and stuck with them regardless of who they are, and see and build continuity. So for the new manager coming in, he can at least analyze and see whether that needs to continue or not. And we haven't seen that for all intents and purposes. So it's frustrating, coach.
It is indeed. But I'm not too sure.
Who would you start? Who would you start, gentlemen?
Here's the thing.
I would start Kai personally, or Felix.
Listen, if you again, if I were the coach, here's what I'd do.
Yeah.
One, keep out between the sticks.
Yeah.
And this here, I would go Koulibaly where he is served essentially for Fofana, right centre back.
Would you use this formation?
And I would use this formation, yeah.
Sure.
And I'll play 2 6s because I don't think we're ready to play with a 4 with a farther back structure.
Sure. Okay.
So yeah, I don't think we're again playing Hall in the left back position doesn't make sense. He's a midfielder, and in the wing back position, you can see he does more for us than in the left back position. So I will play Hall where he is right now with an attacking intent, but I'd rather, as much as I like Hall, I'd go with Mudryk in the left wing back position.
Yeah.
And just explain to him, do the best you can to support the defense. I know you're not a defender, but you're starting here because we're going with this structure with an attacking intent, and not necessarily because you're a defender. You're a winger, and here you have this channel, which gives you quite a lot of space because these guys, 1, 2, 3, can drag the defenders in and create space for you in the left channel. And something in the right hand side, I will play Madueke in the right wing back position with an attacking intent. I don't need Aspilicueta there. I don't need Chalobah there. I need an attack mandate player, an attacking player, a winger to play there, just like Thomas Tuchel. A lot of managers do these days. Thomas Tuchel does that, and Potter does that, and effectively. But my biggest concern is that where the risk lies is that you don't have anybody, any traditional DM as one of the 2 6s or anything close to it, to be able to protect the defense, because you have just a 3 recognized defensive players. Guys. Where's that coming from, please?
I don't know. Not me.
You don't have they're not good enough. They're not doing enough to protect the back 3, which is an issue. So that's where the only concern. But I still go with it like this. I still go with it. Play Noni Madueke here, then play Felix in the 10th position or Kai in the 10th position.
Yeah.
Then the 2 here can be. I wouldn't even give Raheem Sterling a chance, really.
Nah, ditto. You know,
I will accommodate. I will accommodate that to Fofana and Kai Havertz and Felix in 1, 2, 3 position, or even Christian Pulisic in 1, 2, 3 positions, but not Raheem Sterling. No matter how good he's looked of late or off the bench and all that.
Yeah,
so he's gonna be there. You know he's gonna be up top.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Shocking.
Because if you start, here's the thing: if you start, for instance, in the case of Christian Pulisic, if you give him a chance to start in either again 1, 2, 3, anywhere there, one thing you get from him, will always get from him is the good runs in behind the defensive line, opposition defensive line. If they leave spaces, he makes good runs, and he always arrives in the box at the right time. If you can get in the box, you can say at least 7 times out of 10 he put them away on his day. So for me, I wouldn't start Aspi here, not at all. I would start Fofana here, and either Fofana or Chalobah makes way, and my preference would be Fofana. Even though I get it, for me, I still argue Chalobah is a better player defensively. But overall, because I like my defense, especially in the right center back position, to be a good ball carrier and a good dribbler too. I get it; it's too risky, and he overdoes it sometimes. But sometimes that dribble comes into play. You find it, dribbling to find to find the space to make a better decision. Sometimes it helps, if that makes sense. So I don't know. What do you think of my answer?
Yeah, no, I actually quite like it. You're right. No,
But unfortunately, Frank is going to do what Frank does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. This is Gordon was the worst signing. I agree. Roger, you wanted to say something else?
No, I agree with you. I said totally.
Okay. Gallagher, Stalin, yeah, unfortunately. Stop talking nonsense, coach. Why would any sensible coach play halfbacks in his normal position? Constantin Dante, big up to you, bro. If Gallagher has done more good than bad, then I urgently needed medical glasses. Let me just accommodate what I believe you're thinking. You can say he has. Let me just say he hasn't been as bad as most people are stating that he's done. He's not done as bad actually. As badly as most people state that he's done. Look, I'm not saying he's the best player at Chelsea. I'm not saying he's the worst. There's a good player in him, but he's still raw. I think with a good coach, I think he'll become a better player for me, if that makes sense. But yeah, you're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to mine. I'm not saying he's the best player. I'm not saying he's the worst either. Lampard will probably rest our Hall. He's played too much. I get where you're coming from. Let's see what else we have here. Kuchila with the 3-4-1-2 information I see. Yeah, maybe. But we're not sure whether that's going to be the structure, actually. You can say we're just having fun, trying to predict what Frank Lampard would do. But if I were the coach, I'd do things differently. You'd see more offensive players on the pitch, just three recognized defenders, really. Except if Rhys James is available, then yeah, I'll play him in the right wing back position, and he'll still be offensively effective. In the right centre back, if Kukurea or Ventura, I still start them and say, okay, they do more offensively. But what we have now, I'd rather go with offensive players such as Madueke and Mudryk rather than go with Hall and Aspilicueta. It just doesn't make sense. Or even Chalobah, as much as I think he's shown that he's actually capable of putting in good crosses and crossing with intent. With the 3-4-1-2 formation on your screen, who is more suited to play behind the two strikers, Gallagher or Felix? Felix, most definitely. Gallagher isn't, but you know too well. We're not sure. As much as we know, most likely Gallagher gets a chance to play. The question is, where will Frank Lampard accommodate him? If we're going by what we have here right now, most likely, yeah, that's the number 11 player, unfortunately, if that makes sense. Gallagher is not the best, but when you need a player to press throughout the game, that's your guy. I'd say Gallagher on the bench. On the normal circumstances, we'll have better players. But I don't think we can actually do otherwise and be okay. At least if we cannot play well enough, we need to be able to press effectively and get somebody to put in tackles to stop the position. Unfortunately, we have more problems than a lot of people know we do have. I get it, we have Enzo. I'm still thinking we need a 10 who's capable of producing, creating good clear-cut chances from the central area of the pitch. Enzo, as much as I know, I think he's an excellent player. I don't think Enzo alone would be enough. We need to diversify our chance creation, create from deeper areas with Enzo there, and create with somebody who would be almost always be in the final, close to the final third. I think that will, make a whole lot of difference. I don't know if I'm making sense to my fellow panelists here. Okay, I was asking. I don't think my argument is that I don't think Enzo alone will be enough. As good as I think he is, I think he's an excellent passer of the ball. But I think Enzo
he needs a ball winning. He needs a ball winning midfielder next to him. I don't care what anyone says. At me, cook me, whatever. He needs a ball-winning midfielder so he can be able to do what he wants to do in midfield. So
Here's how I argue that.
That's it.
I agree that we need a more defensive-minded player, ball-winning player who can
ball-winning
read the game.
midfielder.
Yeah,
that's
read
it.
the game, break up opposition play to allow Enzo the independence to be more adventurous. But even at that, we still need a 10 or call it whatever you want, a central attacking midfielder.
Oh, you're talking
who's
about this
also
formation.
capable of producing clear-cut chances from the central area. So a lot of people just go ahead and start say that we just need a DM and a number 9 and a goalkeeper. No, I think we need a 10 actually. But go ahead. You were saying something, IBC. Sorry to cut you off.
I was just generally speaking. I wasn't even referencing this formation you got up there. Just generally, he just needs a ball-winning midfielder next to him. He doesn't need to play number 10. No way. He can just assist. Just the number 10, just helping that midfield be a, progressive that midfield. And the number 10 will do what number 10 does. Yeah, we knew that. We need that. If that's the 4-2-3-1, we're going to play. Yeah, we need that. But he needs a ball-winning midfielder next to him. If you want to see
he needs that, and we need another 10. So we have,
And who is the guy you said that's coming in the summer?
Nkunku's coming in.
Oh, that guy. Okay, yeah. We'll wait. Yeah.
But let's see if it's going to be the guy for us. Roger, you have anything to add to that?
No. It's I don't know, man. I have no idea what our future will be in the front going forward. I think we need to see who's leaving the club first. I think it's a safe bet Sterling stays. Pulisic probably will leave. And Cuckoo's coming, so I don't know. Let's see. We need two players in each position, that are good, and they need time to gel. It's a shame these. If we'd gone back 6 weeks, I would have liked to have seen us, no matter who the starting 3/4 are going forward. I would have liked to have seen each time them played the same, but we haven't been afforded that luxury.
And unfortunately, if you're watching, we're trying to predict what we believe Frank Lampard would do. We're not going. This is not our preferred lineup. Although once we involve those in the chat with the poll, usually it becomes an opinionated lineup. Maybe if that's the correct term for lack of a better term that comes to mind. It will be opinion driven. Maybe I don't know. I'm not an English teacher. Gallagher is not the best, but I think I've read that one. And Chelsea all the way says here, let me see what you have to say here. We should stop using the press excuse. Nobody's using it for excuse, but we recognize that's probably the reason why he's getting the chance. So stop blaming us, if you don't mind. Please. We recognize.
Who said press? I didn't say press. I just said it needs
No. It's not you. It's because of I and Roger.
Okay.
Not you.
Okay.
Kachila, we don't need a 10. Felix and Nkunku are 10s, but how effective are they at creating chances? That's something we have to look at. But I think I'll go. If that will work, yeah. But I've heard people, when I made that argument on Twitter, people think I was thinking they're saying Enzo is the guy. No, Enzo isn't the guy. Enzo is a deep line playmaker, and we need that, and we also need a 10. If that makes sense.
You said the exact roles, coach. A deep line playmaker and a ball-winning midfielder. I swear to God, that makes
also is important.
Those two roles make perfect sense, and you now have the freedom of the number 10, like you want. Like everyone's hoping that these guys come. I don't know who's coming in summer, but you're those guys, and they'll be able to fill the striker. So yeah, those roles I totally with. Deep line midfielder, deep line playmaker with a ball-winning midfielder who can support and or defend. And a number 10. I don't care if you want him to be an attacking midfielder, advanced playmaker, whatever you want to call him, just to have him there. Yeah, I'm with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. But hopefully Nkunku comes in, he becomes that sort of number 10 for us. Starling Havertz, he doesn't come in and Poch feels like he can actually play the first 9 role for me. Starling Havertz, Madueke, if we are going up by Frank, Madueke is the only person who plays his position anyway. So let's look at that the last time there, how we were deployed against a City. So Roger, the two guys up top, who do you think that would be? Most
Sadly,
likely.
probably Sterling.
Stalin and who?
Trying to think who's going to be on the left side.
It's going to be Stalin and Havertz too, most likely. That's what I
yeah,
think.
probably. Yeah.
And if you
I
were
have,
the manager, what would you have done differently? What would you do differently?
well, Sterling wouldn't be starting. That's for sure. Probably it'll be. I think in this formation, what I would like to use would be Madueke, Kai in the middle, and Modric on the left, or possibly Pulisic. Those two can interchange. One a start, one substitute, depending. But I would like to see. Listen, this is a preseason. If this was the second or first game next season, no, I'd probably be a little bit more cautious. But this is, for all intents and purposes, a preseason. I'd start Madueke and Modric. It's that simple.
I agree with you, but unfortunately, we know Frank is selfish, and right now will be selfish. Let me just use that term and not just be, let me say, subjective. Even saying it will be is still subjective because I'm nowhere to tell what he's doing. His thing, I think he will be selfish. His priority will be to win a game, and we'll select players I think he believes will help him win a game, and which means we'll see lots of experienced players. And I know that's I know you think that. I don't know if you feel the same, Roger.
No, I do entirely.
Yeah, unfortunately. So yeah, I think that's going to be the front three on the day. That's what I believe. Gallagher in behind. If he does anything differently, anything different, then we'll see that. But I have to wait. Nobody's sure what he's going to do. Even Koulibaly, I'm not too sure. He may end up not starting him and still play Chalobah there because Chalobah has played there for him and has done well. So we're not too sure. And there's a chance we see Chalobah start in the right wing back position if Koulibaly starts here instead of, we're not too sure what he's going to do anyway. Let's see what else we have here. This is Pulisic is a 10, I know, but do I think he gets a chance? It doesn't look like he gets a chance, unfortunately. Roger is correct.
You guys don't believe. Oh, sorry. I was going to say you guys don't believe Madueke is going to start on the right.
If it is this structure, he will most likely not start. Yeah, that's what I think. But there's a chance he starts. There's no telling what will happen. We're just trying to predict what he do, but unfortunately we don't have enough sample size to say this is what we think he does. And there's a chance the games. We're not too sure what he's going to do with it. And like I said, in the case of Thomas Tuchel, at one point again he was so consistent. He was consistent with his selection. You hardly, even when you're sure he's going to make changes, you'll be sure what player comes in and for any player he decides to rest. And 7 times out of 10 out of 10, I think I've gotten 7 out of 10 out of 10. So for instance, I was able to predict his selection correctly. But in the case of Frank Lampard, it's been 4-3-3. It's been 3-4-2-1. It's been 3-4-1-2. It's been multiple formations. So there's no way to tell. Glenn is a 10. Yeah, I get it. 1-1 draw. You think Constantine? Let's say Manu and that team. You can say they've struggled. They're not consistent. But that doesn't mean ends in the draw. They're actually in a better form than us. What about Chukwuemeka? Because we're not sure where he's going to accommodate him. Chukwuemeka, from the little I've seen, like I've argued before, leads me to believe that he's an 8. And I don't see a place for him in this team. I don't see Frank Lampard. Let me just rephrase that. I don't see Frank Lampard giving him a chance. Do I think he trusts him enough? Because, like I said, Frank will be selfish. He would want to win a game. As much as you can say, it's a good argument to say the ideal thing to do would be to give the young players a chance. Since, mathematically, we're not going down. But we were correct to think he wasn't going to give the young players a lot of opportunities, and that's the case. And the truth remains, Hall is getting an opportunity because Chilwell and what's his name, because Chilwell and Cucurella are out. Had they been available, I don't think he'd give Hall a chance, if that makes sense. But that's this is not a preferred lineup, and I still think he doesn't. He trusts, probably looks like he trusts what's his name, Chalobah than Fofana. But a lot of people just thinks that isn't the case. But let's see what happens. Big up everyone. By the way, I am just listening today, not feeling like a talking Chelsea with all these BS going on. A lot of people feel like that. Sometimes I just feel the urge not to even schedule a show, but because I have to, and it's something I love doing. I just have to do it in most cases. But big up to you too, Glenn the Tan. Glenn the Tan, nice to see you. I appreciate it. Always nice to see you. Chuku will come in 5 minutes or even a minute to end the game. Frank says he plays him almost every game, 5 minutes a game. That is it. That doesn't mean anything. 4-3-3. Okay, that's your selection. Kepa between the sticks. Aspi left back. Okay. Koulibaly and Thiago Silva centrally right back. Chalobah. This may well happen. But as I said, this is us trying to predict what we believe Frank Lampard would do. Chalobah, Chukwuemeka, Enzo. Okay. And Stalin, Havertz, and Madueke. Okay, let's see if that happens. Let's see what we have here. Aspilicueta, no. We're thinking that there's a chance he starts again today. He played 90 minutes the last time. Ernesto Dosa, nice to see you. Aspilicueta, never, please. Left for me, he will never play except the last game. I bring him on for the 10 minutes because that's probably will be the last time he gets a chance to play for Chelsea. But in this game against Manchester United, I wouldn't start him, but there's a chance he starts. Aspilicueta, I wouldn't start him, but unfortunately, he may well play again. Let's see. One correction may be that Gallagher starts in place of Madeko or Ruben Loftus-Cheek. For sure, because you're sure he will most likely accommodate him. Dave, 031, a big up to you too, Dave. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. I appreciate that. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. And once we reach 11,000 subscribers, we're getting there. We will celebrate it with a giveaway. And I haven't forgotten, we're supposed to do a monthly giveaway, the Stay in School project. I think we'll do that soon. I don't think I will forget every day. I'd play Frank over Aspilicueta right now. Oh my goodness! Let's see what happens here. Injury list: Chilwell, James, Badia Schiller, many more. We need a new medical team. Roger, can we talk about that again? Should we be blaming the medical team for the injury list we have?
Well, since I'm not medically trained, that'll be inappropriate for me to suggest something. But just as a novice, as someone that's never been to medical school, I'm curious as to know why we have a depleted squad due to a plethora of injuries.
And it's just us. In all the Premier League, it's just us.
Not just, but primarily. You look at Liverpool.
Yeah, I'm talking about the number of players we have out, but go ahead.
Yeah. Out of the top 5 leagues in Europe, we have used the most players because we have experienced the most amount of injuries of starters missing games this season. Those are statistical facts you cannot deny. But you look at Liverpool, you look at Chelsea, we played the most amount of games in Europe last year. Okay. And then there was a World Cup. It caught up with Liverpool also. They had serious injury issues. That's why they're not doing so well. Yes, they have an aging midfield too. Don't get me wrong, but they were semi-decimated. You can't deny that. So I think to say that it's coincidence that 2 teams that played the most amount of games in Europe last season also have experienced the most amount of injuries, I think it's naive of me to say it's a coincidence. So therefore, I think that has something to do with it. Also, it could be our training or lack thereof. It could be the way we're stretching or not stretching. Because if you have a look at the injuries, it goes across all the positions across the field and all the age groups. They're not people that are old. Name the people that we've got missing. Yes, we've had a few people like Silva and Kante over 30 that have missed games, but we have very young players also, like a Fofana, for instance, like a Reece James, like a Chilwell. These players are in their mid-20s or younger, like a Chalabar. So you can't say, oh, it's because they're old, they're an aging squad. No, it's not the case. In fact, the majority of our injuries have been to players that haven't even reached their prime yet. So, like a fluke for Mendy breaking a finger, that's a fluke. That has nothing to do with his age or anything. These fluke, yes, there's some unfortunate things that have transpired. Like you look at Reece, he hyperextended his knee. It was an impact where, so that could have happened to anyone. That's unfortunate. We get that. And the same with Chilwell versus Juventus a couple of seasons ago, a contact injury. These things transpire. But this season, a lot of them are muscle / bloody hamstring injuries. Seriously, I'm concerned about it. This cannot continue. Otherwise, listen, I'm not using this as an excuse. It's a reason. There's a huge difference. But we're going to have the same sort of results next year if we lose anywhere from 8 to 12 starters through either suspension or injuries. With the exception of a City, name me another team that would make top 6 or top 10 if you're missing 8 to 12 starters. Name me a team. There isn't one.
Yeah, I think it's concerning. At one point, Bobby was joking and saying it could be Juju. But
Yeah, you remember that.
yeah, you get my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a concern.
As bad or as indifferent as Potter has been and Frank has been, however you want to term it, and as maybe naive strategically they've been, tactically, however you want to, it's different when you're decimated. Listen, every team is going to have players with knocks in them or the occasional injury. But you look at the Man City we played 2 weeks ago. Oh, sorry, 2 games ago. Look, they had one injury, Ake. The rest of the squad, and it's the same. You can look at Chelsea when they were winning trophies. For the most part, we were healthy. This is what transpires across all sports. You seldom ever win anything with a severely injured squad / team. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So you need Lady Luck also. But what's the root cause? Let's do a root cause analysis. It's probably a combination of or multitude of things. I don't think you can point the finger on one specific thing, but it's very worrisome, and this needs to be fixed more than anything. Otherwise, you know what? You're not going to be top 4, top 6, or even top 10. It's just a fact. You're not going to, regardless of who we get in, like an Nkuku or whomever. We could be hitting the post all day. Doesn't matter. When you are not able to field a consistent, healthy squad, you're not going to be playing well over the course of a season. So this needs to be fixed more than anything, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Gallagher and Sterling switch for Sterling to be a 10 and Gallagher to be. I'm not sure. Let's see what Frank does. I'm just tired of trying to figure out what he's going to do because it's difficult, really. Aspie can be substituted in or out, but Lampard will probably give him the game time. That starting lineup I made was guessing. Was getting what Lampard would do, not what I would do. Yeah, that's all what we're trying to figure out here. If I'm going by what I do, if I were the coach, it'd be a lot different. And that's me. Even though I like a 4-2-3-1 structure, I'd go with a 3-4-1-2 structure, or 3-4-2-1 actually structure rather than this. But I'm not the manager. Roger, it's because our players are Legos. That's why they get injured easily. I get that's that argument there. No, we don't need a medical team. The players are just party too much, not eat well, drink, etc. you see them in the media always out, plus all the extra football, not good mix. You can say a recipe for getting injured. Mabasta 05, we need a bulking coach so that players can bulk up a bit. Sometimes you can bulk up and it becomes too much. You're not going to be as good as as you've been before. Lots of injuries because the players don't train properly. Instead of training, they are given days off. It's like not training, and they play out of a sudden with intensity. To some extent, I'm not sure whether to say that's correct. I'm not a
It
scientist,
could work the other way too.
a
You
fitness scientist, again, by any stretch of the imagination. Go ahead, Kashan, you were saying
I
something.
was gonna say it could work the other way too. You could be training too hard and you can get injured. So
Yeah, too
either
much of
way.
That's true, of
either of the
course.
two is bad.
However, usually when you push your body, assuming you're not abusing it, of course, but when you're in shape, match fitness, you tend to have less injuries. I'm talking minus contact injuries, of course.
Uh-huh.
When you're in good shape and you're drilled specifically and you do the correct exercises and so forth, this is what usually transpires. They're finely tuned athletes nowadays. Not only do they have specific diets for a team, they have specific diets and nutritions for each individual based on their metabolic rate, based on their blood tests, etc. It's a science.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Not just in football, in a multitude of different sports across the world now. We're pushing our bodies to the limit, and sciences, hyperbaric chambers, etc., to recover, etc. It's because it's big money. This isn't the game of sports that in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s when most of these athletes across the world would have a summer sport or an off-season sport to feed their families because they weren't paid lavishly like they are today. These are paid full-time athletes with the best medical doctors for injuries and so forth. So that's why it's but I get what you're saying though. But you can get injured if indeed you overtrain. But they know what they're doing in virtually every sport. They know which exercises are applicable for stretching, but that's pertaining to that particular sport, if that makes sense, etc. So
Mhm.
if they're well run and they eat healthy and they adhere to the medical and the nutritional staff's input, then they should be, for the most part, injury free. Of course, there's always exceptions, but
Yeah.
we have issues in our medical / training staff. There's something that's not normal.
Yeah.
Something is awry.
And a lot of our injuries happen like not during the game. I feel like the Battistili injury that happened like that just randomly happened, right? And then, I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, Glenn Tan says it takes a special type of players, to laugh and act like 12-year-old kids, 12-year-old kids during training sessions when you are a part of the worst Chelsea team in history. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. And Glenn Tan also says that the injuries are karma. Wow. But I get where you're coming from. Roger, you are correct. I was watching training sessions and they don't take the stretching seriously. They are all joking around, talking half the time. So that you can say that justifies also Glenn Tan's argument from. I think that's an issue. We need to see them be serious during training, but you could argue also they are soldiers. Roger, the players' bodies got too used to the 3-day week, 3-day a week, training they had under Potter. So when they train more now, it becomes an issue. To me, that's on the coaches. Wow. It could be for a multitude of reasons that we don't know about, but I think those things are plausible arguments. Those arguments are plausible. Train intensively and those injuries will reduce 100%. Players should watch what they eat and drink as well. I think we've got that argument before. Also, I really don't think they respected their assistant coach or Porter. I think I've made that argument myself. We need a natural striker. Chelsea will struggle for goals without a natural striker. Mabat 05, it depends on what you call a natural striker. I think the sort of profile of striker we should be going for, for me, should depend on what the incoming manager wants, on how the incoming manager likes to approach the game. And they were too lenient with the players. Wow. Let the accusation keep coming in front of Roger. He still works with Potter. Glenn, are you not supposed to be voyeur tonight? That's, by the way, here's the link to Titus YouTube channel. Please go check it out. Let's help him. I pinned it at the very top. Let's help him get to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible. And thanks, by the way, for finding the time to join the show. Chelsea just need good finishes like a Kane. Let's see who they get. The preseason showed we weren't ready for the season. Blame who you'd like. I think that's a solid argument. And yet we didn't do much to rectify the issues that were apparent during that, or obvious maybe, for lack of a better term, during that preseason. Coach, if full play Rogers' team lady on the left, we could get a result tonight, especially if she brings. I'm not gonna. I don't even know what that means. So let me be sure here. And I don't want to read the type that if I find out what it is, then I'll end up putting the video in private mode. I don't know the meaning of that word.
It's a good joke.
Okay.
It's a good pun, is what it is.
Okay. Looks like Reese is finally getting surgery on his pepper hamstring. That's the second surgery in how many months?
Quick question for Roger. What are crumpets?
Maybe that's not something you have to ask on the panel here, because I don't know the meaning and I don't want to explain.
No, it's fine. So crumpet is like, you have scones or scones with tea. Okay, so crumpet is something that you toast and you can put butter on it. But it also
it's a food.
Yeah, but it also has a naughty connotation in the old Cockney slang in like the 1960s and 70s.
Then we shouldn't talk about it.
No, but it's funny.
It.
It's really funny.
Yeah. I knew it was something funny, but I just tried not to read what I don't understand. Glenn says, when it comes to buying a Serie A, our strikers, they tend to struggle to adapt to the Premier League. I think there are enough examples, again, situations to reference to say that's the case. If you push your body to the limit in training, you are less likely to be injured with the intensity of games. Train less and play intensively, you will get. I think that's a solid argument. It's also there has to be certain types of exercise that you have to do, not all of them. So intensity alone isn't enough. It has to be, should I say, intensity of the exercise alone isn't enough. It has to be managed, directed maybe, for lack of a better term. With Pochettino, training sessions will be intense, very intense. We've heard that. With what is it called? Did you call that the Gacon test or what? What is that how you pronounce it? Just now, surgery should have done it weeks ago. I think Glenn 10 was kidding anyway. Big up, guys. I am on break at work. Smash the like button, people. Martin O, thank you so much for finding the time to join. Bills don't pay themselves, and I know a lot of us. That's the same with a lot of us have to work. To pay bills. Butter up. Chelsea need a goalkeeper, someone that can play out from the back, and a good shortstopper. Usually difficult to find a mix of both. But we move on. Ty, your thoughts with regards to the lineup. Welcome to the panel. What do you make of it? Do you think it's a good lineup? The players were selected. Or do you think Frank Lampard would do anything different? This is not a preferred lineup. This is a predicted lineup, what we think Frank Lampard would do. But your thoughts if you're there. If not, let's move on. We should call it a day soon. We cannot hear you. Why has that happened to everybody?
Not me.
Can you say? We can hear you now. Are you there, Ty? Oh my goodness. Go ahead, Ty.
Hello?
Yeah, Ty, we can hear you. If you're there, please speak. I'm going to go ahead. When he's ready to talk, he can come in. This year, since breaking news, so Glenn wasn't kidding. Glenn Tan wasn't really kidding. He was, I think he was serious. He was being serious. He says the breaking news: Reece James, who was aiming to feature against Newcastle United, tweaked his hamstring in training on Wednesday, and is now a doubt. Yeah, a doubt for Sunday's clash. What is this?
He needs to park the car in the garage, and he needs to seek a second or third opinion medically so he can start the preseason if that's the case. Something's wrong, coach. It's to have a lot of injuries in the same part of the body, i.e., hamstrings, across a multitude of players in multitude of positions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree, proverbially speaking, because I'm not medically trained. But I haven't heard about this many hamstring issues in the team. I can't recall this instance of such a large frequency. It seems like it's a joke, absurd.
Yeah, you have to read what Glenn just wrote. I'm not going to read it because I'm not sure the language. I don't want to get into trouble. Very quiet tonight. Yeah, it's been. I think once you get closer to the transfer window, people are more interested in hearing discussing transfer rumors and all that than discussing lineups and all this thing. Yeah, it can happen every now and then. So, but that's fine. Nothing surprising to me there. How long does it take Chelsea to become what Man City are right now in terms of challenging for the Premier League? For me, in my opinion, 3-4 years, 3-4 seasons to challenge Man City. Well, I think it depends on how we go about it. But you may well be correct. We've seen situations where clubs are ahead of their project. Newcastle, for instance, are ahead of their project. With some people argue. Brighton is too. People argue it's because usually the big boys are in a transition period and are struggling. That may have led to for things to look as if they are really doing well when the truth is that the big boys who usually are there they're struggling.
May I ask a question? Yeah. Man City have 115 citations, however you want to term it, that are up against them, that have been charged against them, either in UEFA or the Premier League. Does an asterisk go next to their trophies? Do you think?
Oh yeah, and the FA may well still end up deducting points. Maybe not now, but I think they have enough money. They will hire so many lawyers. Even for the FA to get a chance to deduct points, it would take another 40 years.
Oh yeah. No, I hear you.
So yeah, they have that money. Thank you, Henry Otalo, for saying that. I joke around too much. That whatever I say sometimes. So whenever I say something serious, everybody's like, "Yeah, sure." But that's the truth, Roger, isn't it? Not joke around too much though. But because you joke, and we enjoy your jokes, so sometimes we think maybe you're joking, and even when you present a real news, you spice it up a bit with something funny that nobody wants to. People will still be questioning whether you're joking or not. Got operated on, I believe, also.
Oh wow!
Wow. Is it hereditary? Is that the correct language? I don't think it is. He will always get hamstring if so. So many by now, but he's such a good player. We need to find a permanent solution to that. All this training is due to improper training. All these injuries, you mean, is due to improper training. I'm not going to read the last one I asked you to check. I think Glenn wrote something. Did he delete it? I didn't see it again. Chelsea players are too relaxed. They should toughen up for next season or not get them all out. I think a lot of us think that way. I played like 20 years and never a hamstring. My best mate, a way fitter, strong build like Reece James, and every year hamstring. I think it's hereditary. Wow. Possibly, but you can't just go by because of one instance and say that's the case. But except if you're saying that with certainty because you've seen research done that proves it's hereditary. Breaking recent, yeah, to feature against Newcastle United, tweaked his hamstring in training on Wednesday, and it's now a dub for Sunday's clash. It's concerning really. Let's see what else we have here. This is why we have Gusto to become James's, not backup, compete with James. I wouldn't say backup, but I get your argument in the right wing back and right back position. Coach, Sky Sports was saying the same against the City. Won't conclude for another 2-3 years, which is time enough for them to get a couple more league and Champions League. Why is our punishments always so swift? Probably because we don't. Maybe we don't. You can say we don't push back as much as others do. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. I'll go to the extent they go to to protect themselves. I am not body slamming, but James should take care of his weight, and that might help. But people were arguing that he's lost weight of late. He's shed some weight of late. Real Madrid resumes to sell 100 million. I don't think we'll still sell him, and I don't think Real Madrid will give him 100 million for James right now. Lauren had a hamstring surgery and said it worked wonders. So maybe he should do that and get it over with for both hamstrings. So now, Ty, your thoughts on the lineup? Would you have done anything differently? And remember, this is not a preferred lineup. We're trying to predict what we believe Frank Lampard would do. What do you make of the selection if you're still there? Otherwise, we're ready to call it a day.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Ty.
Okay.
Hi.
Yeah. That is a lineup I think that Lampard would choose. And like you said, that this would not be my preferred lineup as well because, honestly, I would play Chalobah instead of Aspi. Judging on the way that I saw Palmer nearly skinned, or well, not nearly, he did skin Aspi on that right side. I'm not really sure. I don't think that Aspi is the same, and it's quite obvious that he isn't. He's not as quick as he was before. He's older now. His feet will not be as swift as it was before, or at the pace he was in the past. But I would. But this is a life that I think and it's kind of unfortunate. I am happy that Hall is likely to get game time because he's a promising player and he always shows that when he plays. I would
Who's
have
likely to
loved
get who?
to have seen Chukwuemeka start the game, but I lose Hall.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Ty. It looks like
Yeah,
whatever we say
and
is
I
getting
said
to
I would
him
have
late.
loved to see Chukwuemeka start. I think there's a delay, but in terms of the attack, I am not fond of Havertz or Sterling starting based on recent form, but we really don't have any other option unless Lampard decides to give that Fofana a start, which at this moment. But yeah, this is a lineup I think that Lampard would choose. It looks quite similar to what he would do, and we just have to just these two things. The season is concluding, and that's the best we can do. It's been a very long season. It's been one where it's been filled with a lot of underwhelming performances.
Hello, Coach. Are you there?
Coach, you're on mute.
I'm here. Yeah, thank you. I was on mute and I didn't know. James carries a lot of muscle. If he loses that, he might lose some power too. Keep that in mind. Yeah, I think his build is part of his ability to not again. It's part of the helps him to withstand. Helps make it difficult for people to muscle him off the ball. I say if he loses that, he may well lose that part of his game.
Yeah. Do you think he's overly competent, where he's overly muscular to a certain extent?
I don't think so, really. There are even bigger players. I think the root of his issues lies lie elsewhere. But people lies elsewhere. But people again.
They play in the midfield or they play in defense where they're not playing a right or a left back which is now not your grandfather's wing back position of 30, 40 years ago, where they never went past the halfway line. These chaps now go up and down the field. That's all they do. They're the position that runs the most. And so I think perhaps for his position, I think his body build may not be suitable to that position. Perhaps I'm just speculating, because he's very compact, he's very muscular. But you look at other people like Trent Alexander, you look at Man City's right back, he's actually quite beefy, actually, but he's not as well. He's been fit and he's been fast for such a long time, and he's in his 30s now. I don't know. Unless he's just bloody unlucky, you know.
Yeah, I think it might be that.
You know, because that does come into part of the equation. You know, there are athletes that play 10, 15 years and never have a major issue ever. And also there's hereditary to have great genes also for healing fast. But there are some people that just can't kick the injury bug. There's a lot of luck involved, especially when it's a collision.
Yeah, you could argue that.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a move James infield. The wings take a lot of energy. I think Roger have argued that before. That would be less demanding than the sort of work he does on the flanks. But yeah, all you guys are right about James. I think people will always come up with the reasons they believe is why he gets injured, very often. That I'm beginning to argue. Actually, some people have actually started to argue that he's injury prone. Really, these days with such professionalism, sports science, food, etc., there should not be these problems unless players are not with it. I think the argument has always been science has changed everything. People are playing longer than usual right now. People's playing career last longer than usual. If you is fit, he might start. He trained. Okay, you're talking about Mount. Okay, Mount. Maybe. Let's see what happens. It depends on how fit he is. Thank God I can read lips. Those were some naughty words. That was when you guys couldn't hear me.
So rude, man.
Yeah, don't mind them. But Glenn 10, I'm not saying I don't curse. I can curse, but it's something at least sometimes you respect yourself. Sometimes you can get, mad and do that, but it's not like you can say it's something I do constantly. Before I do that, then I have been pushed to the edge and I'm at the point of falling off the cliff. That's when you start hearing that. But I even hate to do it, even at those situations. Pep explained why City players are always fit. What he said is sleep, eat well, and drink a lot of water. Someone added something else to it the other day, and I couldn't stop laughing. Turn resumes into SCN 2.0. SCN do a lot of running. Better technique, better shot, better passing, and strong, but maybe not stronger. It could work. Moving him infield could work, actually. In a back three, they don't run much. Reece is suited to he can play in the right center back position where he doesn't have to run much. But in the wing back, he has a lot because he has that defensive instinct. Even when his primary responsibility isn't to defend, instinctively you'd always see him in the defensive area, sprinting back to help defensively because. First of all, he's a defender. Well, Reese was a player of the year at Wigan, where he played a DM, and he was excellent for them as DM. So yeah, maybe turn him into a DM. Maybe, you don't know, but it's up to Poch. I don't know if Poch is that sort of manager like Pep and Mourinho would look at a player and say, "I think you're better suited for this position, not where you've been playing all the while." Maybe he is. I don't know.
I think he'd make an excellent midfielder.
He
has
will,
the
yeah.
ability to cross, to pass, to shoot. It depends how you use him, obviously, in the midfield. But I think he would excel. And plus, it wouldn't require or necessitate so much stress on the body of going up and down. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, and he has goals in him. I would hope Mount get to final game for fans to get them to get them out of their system. Yeah, and move on from that. I think the Newcastle game will be perfect if, in fact, the club will end up selling him. Mount trained today with Chile also. So does that mean we're going to see them tomorrow? I don't know. I don't think it's worth risking a setback. There's nothing to lose at this point. But Frank's priority would be to win. He would be selfish, as I've said before. Probably will start players if he feels what's his name, Mount will help him win again. If he feels Chile will help him win again, he'd start him. Coach, I have heard Coach Cost. He made he made cross myself. I'm not sure I understand that, but main point that I got is that yeah, you've heard me cross. If Eriksen can play a DM, Reece can. Okay, thank you so much, people. I think we've come to the end of the show. I have to run quickly to help my boy get ready for school. And I want to thank Ty for finding the time to join us today. I know you're a very busy man. Roger Pop, big up to you too, brother. Thank you for finding the time to join. Kishan, always nice to have you. Constantine Dante, my Australian bro. And the beautiful game, big up to you. Appreciate you. Taberho, who was on the panel, thank you so much for being on the panel when you had time. Thomas Bays, big up to you. I appreciate you so much. I cannot thank you enough. Glenn 10, I like your new name. Big up to you. I appreciate you. JC, same to you. I appreciate you. Brother, thank you for finding the time to join the show. And finally here from the beautiful game, he says, James should have stayed as a striker. We need goals. Did he start as a striker at the academy? I thought, okay. But he switched to the flanks as a right back. Eriksen played for Poch and now for Ten Hag as a DM. Really, is that the role he plays with them? Okay, I have to pay attention again. Let's see what else we have here. People are saying play James in midfield, which isn't his position, but then give excuses about Havertz not playing in his in his natural position. That's why I like you. You always bring such arguments. But
let's not bring up Havertz.
Yeah, as a second DM, maybe. Okay, that's why I'm asking that question. But maybe as a hybrid of 8 and 6, not really a DM. Thank you guys. I appreciate you all. See you guys next time. God bless us all, and bye.
Pleasure, gentlemen. Take care.
Peace.
Thank you, people.